as the players wear black armbands for this game. The moment's reflection and applause for the friends and family of Tudor Thomas, the club's honorary president, who sadly passed away last week. Played a huge role at Manchester City during his life. Pep Guardiola, in his programme notes, saying that Tudor Thomas will always be remembered fondly. So the Manchester City players break away from their huddle. Aston Villa still together, playing in their chain strip, the all-black. Manchester City in the sky blue shirts, the white shorts and the sky blue socks. As we welcome listeners to the BBC's World Service here to Manchester, to the Etihad. It's been a tumultuous, a challenging week for Manchester City off the pitch, on the pitch. Can they find a way to build on that siege mentality that Pep Guardiola was fostering in his press conference on Friday and close the gap at the top of the Premier League to the leaders Arsenal to 3 points ahead of that huge clash with the Gunners in midweek? At the start of the match, the players take the knee, particularly prescient in terms of the No Room for Racism campaign that they are reflecting the ongoing work done by the Premier League as Aston Villa break into the penalty area early doors. Good effort by Bailey, blocked behind for a corner. Well, I tell you what, Clinton, we expected Manchester City to start like a train. It was Aston Villa who went up the other end and had a good opportunity.
Yeah, it's a good chance from Bailey. He should really do better. It was good defending in the end from Laporte, but he doesn't catch it cleanly. Great run from Ollie Watkins. He's stretching Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker's quick, but he does well, Watkins, but good defending in the end from Laporte.
So early corner to Aston Villa to be taken from this near side. They take it short. It's Luiz to Buendia, and Douglas Luiz will play the ball to the edge of the penalty area. Aston Villa will play it back in, looking for Ollie Watkins. It's headed away, and Ilkay Gundogan goes down on the edge of his own penalty area. And Manchester City have a free kick. So City with Ederson in goal. The back four of Walker, Diaz, Rodri and Laporte. Ahead of them, it's Gundogan, De Bruyne and Silva, with Mahrez, Grealish and Haaland up top. And it'll be interesting to see, won't it, Clinton, because Rodri is a player that we know can slot into that back four as he's doing so now, but you expect also City to do what they often do in possession and employ potentially a three at the back, which allows Rodri then to slot back up into midfield.
Watching it, Vicky, 100% it's a free. It's Walker, Diaz and Laporte, and Rodri just sitting in there with Bernardo Silva as a two in front. So what that tells me is Pep thinks they're going to dominate possession, and when they lose the ball, as you said, Rodri will drop in and play centre half with Diaz. But it's really attacking and it's really bold.
So Manchester City in possession, goalless here, 2 minutes gone at the Etihad on 5 Live in the World Service as Rodri in midfield picks it up and plays it out to the right hand side, and Kyle Walker has De Bruyne ahead of him but goes back to Rodri instead as Pep Guardiola, already animated down there on the touchline, standing just outside that dotted white line of his technical area. It's on the pitch now, Pep Guardiola, with that left foot, waving his arms around as Manchester City work it out to the right hand side, and Riyad Mahrez back in field to Rodri. Mahrez once more, central position, 30 yards out, pulls it to Laporte on that left hand side, and now here you can tell by the boos from the away fans, it's Jack Grealish. Socks down round his calves, black boots, darting towards the byline, ball across, claimed by Emi Martinez.
I'm surprised he's getting booed. He's a boyhood, it's his boyhood club. They got a lot of money for him and they're booing him. But oh well, I suppose that happens in football, doesn't it, Vic? No loyalty nowadays.
Well, that's it indeed. Let's head to Twickenham for an update from Sonia McLaughlin. England against Italy in the Six Nations.
Yeah, England 26, Italy 14. Italian sides of old, Vicky, would have folded by now under this relentless pressure from England. Not this one. Nice little move from Alessandro Fusco. Ghosted through a gap that he had no right to get through. Defence coach Kevin Sinfield will not be happy with that one. England 26, Italy 14.
Diaz plays the ball out to the left-hand side, and Grealish, applause from the City fans for the way that he took that ball down. Grealish into the area, it's a corner. Let's head to the Scottish Cup, Rangers against Partick Thistle. Roddy Fasson.
Well, we've had a stoppage for a couple of minutes for a VAR penalty decision that nobody on the field seems to know occurred, and certainly it is being given. It's a Partick Thistle penalty against Rangers. It's going to be taken by Kevin Holt. We don't know why, other than there was a handball that nobody here has seen. The players were asking each other what had happened, but nonetheless, penalty kick it is. Controversial VAR decision. I can hear action in the background.
For Manchester City, they take the lead early doors against Aston Villa. Exactly the response that Pep Guardiola would have wanted after the off-the-pitch events of this week. It's Rodri, it's powerful, it's Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 0.
Yeah, it's a good goal from Rodri, really good goal, and that's what they needed. They needed to start the game on the front foot, and they have started the game on the front foot. It's the worst possible start for Aston Villa, but yeah, the ball just swung in, and Rodri's the first one to go and attack it. He's the bravest. He wants to get in there, and it's a brilliant finish from Rodri. As you can see here on the left-hand side, Mahrez plays a good ball in. It's a brilliant header from Rodri. He gets across the near post, and it's a really good header into the far corner.
Second goal of the season for Rodri.
In actual fact, looking at it again, because there was someone standing in front of us, I'm going to be honest, and the TV went funny. It's not into the far corner. He's beat Martinez at his near post, and Martinez will be disappointed with that, Vicky.
Yeah, it's one of these where Martinez gets a big hand to it, but the power on the header from Rodri is too much for the Aston Villa number 1. And Manchester City have the perfect start as Ashley Young gets a few boos of his own, the former Manchester United man. He's done well though down the right-hand side for Villa. Villa have a corner. But when we talk about the start that Guardiola would have wanted, I mean the tonic that will be.
It's a great start, Vicky. You're spot on. And that's what he would wanted. He said, go out there, start well the first 10 or 15 minutes. That's what they've done. Get that early goal. It settles down everyone.
Just to update you from the Scottish Cup, Partick Thistle have scored that penalty, so they lead Rangers by a goal to nil as Aston Villa take the corner short. Little 1-2, good work down to the byline. Manchester City are appealing, and it will be given as a goal kick. But again, nicely worked there, and Bailey involved once more.
If we watch the replay, Vicky, I promise you now, Bailey, credit to him, he stays on his feet. I think he could go down here and he maybe get a penalty because Kevin De Bruyne is late on him. Kevin De Bruyne's challenge is late. If Bailey goes down, look, if he goes down, he will get a penalty there.
But he doesn't. He stays on his feet. And it's 1-0 to Manchester City. Rodri's header inside the opening 5 minutes. Blue moon rings around the Etihad. I have to say, it is a good atmosphere here, Clinton. The fans have responded not just to what's happened off the pitch this week, but I think to the attitude that Pep Guardiola took in his press conference.
No, you're spot on, Vicky. It is a brilliant atmosphere, and you as players, you got to make that atmosphere and give the fans something to shout about. They're always going to back, and a lot of people complain and say when you come to Man City, it's always quiet, but it's not quiet so far.
Manchester City in possession. Here is Ruben Diaz out to this right-hand side, and Kyle Walker will send it back to Diaz and out to the left, and Laporte all the way back to Ederson in bright orange. Aston Villa, incidentally, with Martinez in goal, the back four of Young, Concert, Chambers making his first start in the Premier League since the end of August, with Mings out injured, and Digne ahead of them. It's Ramsey, Kamara, Louise, and Buendia with Bailey and Watkins up front as the ball is out to this right-hand side, and Kyle Walker midway through the Manchester City half as De Bruyne plays it up to the halfway line, and Riyad Mahrez who's brought down. And Manchester City will have a free kick. They have the lead here on 5 Live in the World Service.
Yeah, they've started well. One thing I like Diaz in that. He distributes the ball ever so well at centre-back. I'm surprised he hasn't played a lot. He's been good so far.
Ball down the left-hand side for Manchester City. Ramsey is back there defending for Villa, so City work it backwards to the goal scorer, Rodri. Walker's asking for it, and now receives it in the bright, lurid orange boots. Out to the right-hand side he goes, and Riyad Mahrez back to Kyle Walker once more as Unai Emery watches on the edge of his technical area. It's the 13th time that he's come up against Pep Guardiola as a manager, Emery. He's never beaten him in their 12 previous encounters as Villa clear the ball away on the edge of the area, but Douglas Luiz won't latch onto that, and Bernardo Silva sends it out to the left-hand side, and Jack Grealish back to Laporte now, and City moving the ball around cleanly, sharply, but with urgency as well, despite this 1-goal advantage. Nice little back heel from Grealish to Silva, and now Laporte once more. Down that left-hand side goes Grealish, and back in field to Bernardo Silva, but just been a little bit too clever there. Manchester City not paying attention to the offside, flags up on the near side, and it's a free kick to Aston Villa. Yeah,
Villa need a bit of spell because they can be chasing for long periods, and that's when Man City are at their best. When you can't get hold of the ball and you're chasing, the bits will open up, and that's what it's looking like at the moment. They just need a spell at the moment, Vicky.
So Callum Chambers in possession for Aston Villa, goes all the way back to Emi Martinez. 9 minutes played here on 5 Live in the World Service. Manchester City leading through Rodri's header against Aston Villa. Sponser has it just inside the penalty area, all the way back to Emi Martinez. Is there any more that Villa could have done in terms of organisation at that corner? Of course, they don't have Mings in there, who's such a leader in those situations.
Yeah, the one thing you don't want to do is... Man City are a brilliant team. If they cut you open with good football, you understand, but you don't want to be conceding a goal for set piece, and that's why Unai Emery will be disappointed. And it's not like it's a fantastic run from Rodri. He just makes a near post run. I think Martinez will be disappointed, because once you get a hand to it, you should really be saving it.
Ball over the top, looking for the run of Leon Bailey. Will bounce through to Ollie Watkins, who's forced wide, tried to pull it back across to Bailey, but it's intercepted, and Rodri will play it back to Laporte, who plays the ball just outside his own area to Mahrez, back to Walker, and Walker with the distance over halfway. The header is won by Callum Chambers, sent it out towards Digne on the left-hand side, and it will be a throw to Manchester City. A try at Twickenham. England, Italy, which way? Sonia McLaughlin.
Oh, it's gone the way of the home team. England 31, Italy 14. Lovely little arcing run by the replacement scrum half, Alex Mitchell. He found Henry Arundel, this bright young star from London Irish, out on the left. He scored in the corner. Owen Farrell, as I speak, just lining up the conversion. That's the try that has put this match to bed for Steve Borthwick's team. It's England 31, Italy 14.
Thanks, Sonia. Final stages are over on 5 Sports Extra here on 5 Live. Manchester City looking for a second. Gundogan into the area. Good save by Emi Martinez, and the ball goes behind for a corner. That was a lovely Manchester City move, Clinton Morrison.
It was, but Pep's thinking the same as me. It's brilliant from Kevin De Bruyne to Rodri. The run from Gundogan's brilliant. He's got to slide it to Haaland. Haaland's right beside him. Unless you score, then I understand. But being a striker myself, just roll it. He's got to tap in, and Pep's saying the same thing. So I'm glad me and him think the same way, me and Pep Guardiola. I'll have that.
Never bad, is it, to be on the same wavelength as the Manchester City manager. So another corner to Manchester City. They scored from one in the opening 5 minutes. What can they do here? Can Aston Villa marshal this set piece more effectively? It's over from the far side once again. It's swung in high, and Martinez comes and claims well on the edge of his 6-yard box.
Yeah, he does. And Martinez, he loves getting involved. He claims it and he just runs into Rodri. So yeah, but it was good, a good claim from Martinez there, and that's what you need sometimes when you conceded early. Your goalkeeper come and help the back line.
So Aston Villa in possession, trailing by a goal to nil here on 5 Live in the World Service. Aston Villa, who had been going so well under Unai Emery, their defeat against Leicester last time out in the Premier League was their first loss in 5 Premier League games. But they're a goal down early on, and they're without Tyrone Mings today, which is a big blow for Unai Emery's side, as Manchester City have a throw midway through their own half, and 12 minutes gone. Pep Guardiola paces his technical area, arms folded. Were you surprised with how strong he was in his press conference, Clinton, and that he didn't plead the fifth, as it were, and say, look, investigation's ongoing, I'm not going to get too deep into this?
No, I think he's got the experience. I wasn't surprised, to be fair. I just think that's Pep Guardiola, and I said the mind games have started. You know, it's them against us. It's everyone against Man City, and then he's saying let this group of players go on and try and catch Arsenal and win the Premier League, and that's just extra motivation for this group of players. So I think it's clever management, Vicky.
They're in possession with the goal scorer Rodri, just on the edge of the centre circle, and Kyle Walker now will send it over the top, looking for the run of Erling Haaland. Haaland, it bounces, he clatters into Emi Martinez, the ball finds the back of the net, the whistle has gone, the foul has been given for the foul by Haaland on Martinez. That's the way that Robert Jones saw it. Yeah. Martinez is still down. City is surrounding Robert Jones to protest, but it's one of these. This normally goes the goalkeeper's way, Clinton, and it's a borderline offside anyway. It's a borderline offside, yeah. You are right, but I don't understand. Why does he just not blow straight away? Martinez does get there first, and then Haaland catches him. We're watching the replay now, and he does. I think Martinez just gets there first. Yeah, and then he gets there, so it's not gonna be overturned. I think the referee makes the right decision, but you know what frustrates everyone? It's just he takes his time, and I think he takes his time just to think about it, because you know what we've had this weekend, don't we, Vicky? And we don't want VAR taking over this game, that's for sure. 100% agree. Absolutely. So yeah, right decision, and as we say, would have been looked at for a potential offside anyway. But concern here for Aston Villa, because Emi Martinez still down, receiving treatment, and he's a player, you know, let alone being a World Cup winner with Argentina. He has been so crucial for Aston Villa, not just this season, but since he arrived back in 2020. Very much established number one since his arrival, and again has been having another good season.
Yeah, he's been outstanding. Listen, at the World Cup, he was the goalie of the tournament, thoroughly deserved it, made big save for Argentina, and he's come back to Aston Villa and been outstanding. You don't want to lose a player of his quality, because he is one of the best goalies in the Premier League at the moment.
Well, he's back to his feet, Emi Martinez, and the Villa medical staff are departing. They do have two goalkeepers on the bench, Aston Villa. But Emi Martinez...
Yeah, they do. It's strange. Maybe that's the point he's making. I need more players.
Yeah, I was going to say a little bit stretched, but in terms of injuries, they've got Diego Carlos, the centre-half, who has been out for a long time with an Achilles injury. Bertrand Traoré, who was on loan, has come back and is recovering from injury. But they are stretched, but they don't really have many more players to come back.
No, they don't. And Tyrone Mings is obviously missing.
Course,
but
yeah.
you're right, Vicky, they don't. So I was thinking, if you're a youngster, you probably think, gutted you've not made the bench. And if you're that second goalie, you're buzzing.
Well, he does have the young Sil Svinkels, the defender, on the bench, but that does just about make up the full complement for Aston Villa. Emi Martinez just watching on, raising both arms in the air. We'll keep an eye on him as Aston Villa have a free kick midway inside their own half. Manchester City leading by a goal to nil as the City fans making the point. We know what we are, champions of England. We know what we are.
Can't argue with that at the moment, can we?
Indeed. Aston Villa in possession, just inside their own half, but it was interesting, wasn't it? So many comments coming out of Guardiola's press conference and just different embargoes on them. So the latest that were released this morning, he was asked specifically about the achievements of Manchester City. Of course, if the charges are proven, and a long way to go before that happens, City adamant that they are innocent and will be vindicated, but potential options for the Premier League in terms of sanctions are really unlimited. And asked about those achievements, they will always belong to us, he says. Nobody can remove it. The feelings, the good moments, the bad moments, regardless of whatever sentence. Long way to go off the pitch. On the pitch, it's been the perfect start for Manchester City. They lead by a goal to nil. Inside 5 minutes, Rodri's header against Aston Villa as Villa win it inside their own half on the right-hand side. Gundogan gets a foot in and will send it back on that left-hand side, and now Diaz picks it up just inside the centre circle. Out to the right, Manchester City go, and Kyle Walker forward to Riyad Mahrez, put under a bit of pressure by Luca Digne, and Diaz will pick it up. 17 minutes gone. Ball forward as Manchester City knock it around just inside the Aston Villa half, and now square it to Kyle Walker. We'll be heading to Ibrox shortly for half-time in the Scottish Cup. Manchester City building, and they go back to halfway, so come in, Roddy, for side.
Rangers nil, Partick Thistle 1 at half-time at Ibrox, and this is not a freak scoreline. Kevin Holt putting Thistle ahead with a penalty kick just after the half hour, but as we look at the half-time stats, 3 shots on target for Thistle, none at all for Rangers. 2 big saves from McGregor, and this is a shot on the making.
Thanks, Roddy, as Manchester City play the ball forward. De Bruyne won't pick that up though, and it's behind for an Aston Villa goal kick. Clinton Morrison.
It's good play. You can see Man City, they look in form today. They're 1 and 2 touches. I think it's clever playing Bernardo Silva, Gundogan, De Bruyne and Rodri in there like a 4 with Grealish, Mahrez. They've got real good attacking options supporting Haaland, but the 1 and 2 touch we're seeing at the moment is really good.
Aston Villa playing out from the back. Here goes Callum Chambers out to the left-hand side, and Luca Digne approaching the halfway line, tries to accelerate past Mahrez, who does get a foot in. Digne does well though, little drag back by Ollie Watkins, looking for the run of Buendia, but it's cleared away by City. Mahrez with a little step over, brought down by Digne, who thumps the ground with a clenched right fist in frustration, because at the moment Aston Villa are struggling to lay a glove on Manchester City.
They are, but the ball's just gone up to Ollie Watkins and he's flicked it. Can't be flicking it, he's got to hold the ball up.
To Twickenham, Sonia.
Yeah, well, we're approaching full time here, Vicky. It's currently England 31, Italy 14. England heading, I should say, for the first win under the Steve Borthwick era. It's a Borthwick-esque performance, actually. Forwards laying the foundation, strong set piece, especially the driving maul. 5 tries, bonus point to boot. England's identity starting to emerge under their new coach. Heading for full time, England 31, Italy 14.
Thanks, Sonia, here at the Etihad. Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 0, 19 minutes gone on 5 Live in the World Service as Walker picks it up, looking for De Bruyne. That's a brilliant ball. De Bruyne across, looking for the run of Haaland. Well defended by Callum Chambers for Aston Villa. It's behind for a City corner.
Yeah, it's a great ball from Carl Walker. Good run from Kevin De Bruyne. He just couldn't sort his feet out. And at the end, you're right, Vicky, really good defending from Chambers, because that man Haaland was waiting to couple that up in the 6-yard box.
So De Bruyne over to this near side, preparing to take the corner. Haaland waits on the edge of the 6-yard box. De Bruyne with one right hand raised in the air. The sky blue shirts are on the move. He pulls it right to the edge of the area. Grealish deflected just wide. Well, they tried something different, City, and it almost paid off from the former Villa man.
Unbelievable technique from Jack Grealish. The ball's fantastic from Kevin De Bruyne, but yeah, it's a good defending again from Chambers, but the technique from Jack Grealish is unreal at the moment. And yeah, there might have been a slight handball there, but he didn't move his hand, Chambers. Good defending. But they are checking, I think.
Yeah, Rob Jones is just saying, just hold on there, because it did strike an arm. Good spot, Clinton. Was it making his body unnaturally bigger? It's one of these where he's jumping, he's turning his body. VAR are having a look now. So first big test really for VAR after what has been a very controversial and challenging weekend for the officials, but they say no.
And I think they get that right, Vicky. They do get that right. So well done VAR, because yesterday you didn't get nothing right.
So referees all around the country breathe a sigh of relief. Clinton Morrison says you're vindicated, and it's a corner to Manchester City, looking to double their advantage, and the header is down, cleared away, and then stabbed over the bar from close range. Haaland was in there. Now Manchester City are appealing potentially for the corner, but Rob Jones says no. But again, Villa just aren't dealing with these set pieces, Clinton.
No, they're not. Ruben Diaz has got a free header. He doesn't make contact. He'll be disappointed. And then the ball falls to Haaland in the 6-yard box, and he can't sort his feet out quick enough. I think Jacob Ramsey just does enough to put him off.
Yeah, he makes the initial block, Ramsey, and it falls, as Clinton says, to the feet of Haaland. Snapshot, hooks it high, hooks it wide, and we're still Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 0, midway through the first half on 5 Live of the World Service. Here is Kyle Walker intercepting that Villa ball over halfway, sends it all the way back to Edison, who has had a very quiet start to the match here, and by very quiet I mean he's had very little to do.
You're right, Vicky. He ain't had nothing to do. Villa have had that one little break earlier on where it's a good run from Ollie Watkins, and Leon Bailey should have done better. Other than that, they haven't really tested Man City. It's been comfortable.
They have on a throw, Villa, level with the City penalty area. Good work by Buendia, and Luca Digne will send it all the way back to Callum Chambers as Pep Guardiola advances out towards the edge of his technical area once again. And Villa go all the way back to Emi Martinez. Out to the left-hand side now, and Callum Chambers plays the ball over halfway. Watkins has come short to receive it. A lovely little layoff to Douglas Luiz, and plays it forward looking for Bailey. Manages to control, tries to squeeze it through to Ramsey. Bailey will go alone from the edge of the area. Gets a deflection. It will be an Aston Villa corner. Edison had gone to retrieve the ball. He's going to have to look up and see the decision that Robert Jones has given, but that was better from Villa.
Yeah, what you have to realise, if you beat that initial press what Man City have, where they're not overloaded in midfield and they've got a lot of attacking players, you can get at them, but good defending in the end.
So corner to be taken from this near side, the height arriving from the back in the shape of Konsa and Chambers for Aston Villa. Very crowded 6-yard box. Villa looking to get back on level terms. The black shirts dotted around the sky blue ones as Villa eventually swing the corner in with Douglas Luiz. Will come all the way through on the right hand side to Ramsey, who scoops it back up when Diaz in there, does win the header, commits the foul at the same time. Edison gathers anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Kamara's at the back post, Vicky, and I'm thinking to myself, take a touch and just drill it back in. Instead he kind of loops it back in, and it's hard, but if he takes an early touch then tries to get his shot away, well, Bernardo Silva's doing a good job, but the ball back in, yeah, it's too high, and Buendia fouls Kevin De Bruyne.
And he's not the tallest either, Buendia.
No, exactly.
Asking a bit much.
Yeah.
So Aston Villa in possession 23 minutes gone. Manchester City leading by a goal to nil as Villa go long, looking for the run of Ollie Watkins. Decisive goalkeeping by Edison comes and clears, turned into a great ball for Jack Grealish on the left-hand side. Heads it forward, looking for Haaland, but he won't reach it. It's all the way back with Emi Martinez. Good distribution out to this left-hand side, brought down by Luca Digne as Haaland on the edge of the area, waits for Mahrez to close down Martinez, who clears up towards halfway out to the right-hand side. Cushioned header looking for Jacob Ramsey, but it's intercepted by Bernardo Silva. And the ball goes out of play for an Aston Villa throw.
Yeah, he uses the ball ever so well, Martinez. 2 incidents there, great ball to Digne. When he's getting pressed under, plays a great ball to Ashley Young, and that's how you see Coleys have improved massively with their feet, and they have to, because everyone wants to play out from the back, Vicky.
And here he is, Emi Martinez in possession once more as Unai Emery stands with that left hand outstretched, now clicking the fingers of his right hand as he tries to just orchestrate things for Villa from the touchline. As Manchester City clear over halfway. Ashley Young under pressure from Jack Grealish, but does well. Young back to Conso, all the way back to Martinez. It's closed down quickly. Again, Manchester City just starting to employ the high press around the Aston Villa penalty area, and it's worked on the right-hand side eventually as Mahrez will pick it up and send it all the way back to Kyle Walker. I suppose the positive for Unai Emery and for Aston Villa fans listening to us, they have scored in each of Emery's 8 Premier League games in charge. I mean, improvements all over the pitch, but that's been a key one, hasn't it, Clinton? 14 goals in their last 8 Premier League games, as many as in their previous 15 Premier League games combined.
Yeah, one thing he does, he's made them hard to beat, but he's also made them a threat going forward, and they do cause problems and they can score goals. We know that. We speak about Watkins before. Bailey's been chipping in with goals when Dia's been good. So yeah, you have to credit Unai Emery. I think he's done a brilliant job, and I said I do think he'll take Villa to the next stage where they want to do. He is a good manager.
Jack Grealish wins a free kick over on the left-hand side for Manchester City, and they spread it out to the right immediately. Walker just about finds Gundogan, who's then fouled by Douglas Luiz. Well, he's not happy. Unai Emery does a little skip of frustration on the touchline as well. But Manchester City have a set piece midway through the Aston Villa half. Earlier in the Premier League today, 2 late goals for Manchester United gave them the 2-goal victory at Ellen Road, which temporarily moved them up to second above Manchester City in the table. But with City leading 1-0 here on 5 Live and the World Service, they are back up to second as things stand, and just 3 points behind Arsenal.
They're in the title challenge now, aren't they? The race. I think they dropped points against Leeds in midweek. They definitely would have been in it. But yeah, Man United are not going away. Ten Hag's done a brilliant job.
Very much so. Free kick to Manchester City. Riyad Mahrez and Kevin De Bruyne stand over it. It is De Bruyne, dinks it into the edge of the penalty area, headed away initially by Villa, and the shot is blocked from Bernardo Silva. Shout for handball from the fans. We play on, and in the end, Rob Jones gives the free kick the other way to Aston Villa inside their own penalty area. But again, it's another set piece, Clinton. They are struggling with those aerial deliveries.
They are a big team, City, with Diaz and Laporte coming in, and they got Rodri in there and Haaland. But yeah, it's like they are missing Mings, like with because his aerial ability is really good, but they are struggling. And if you're not going to win the first ball, Vicky, I've always been told win the second ball, and they did that. They did that well there, and that's when they got the free kick.
So Aston Villa playing out from the back, trailing 1-0 at the Etihad to Rodri's early header. Ball goes all the way back to Emi Martinez, closed down once more by Haaland. Haaland, who incidentally needs just one more goal to level Sergio Aguero's single-season Premier League goal-scoring record for Manchester City. Aguero netted 26 in the 14-15 season. Haaland's on 25. I've got a feeling, Clinton,
I don't think he's going to do it, do you, Vic?
Big call from Clinton Preston. I mean, just it will be one of many.
Exactly.
So many have already fallen records this season, and more, I'm sure, to come this campaign. As Riyad Mahrez, nice little back heel to Kevin De Bruyne, and City suddenly accelerating through the gears. Lovely play by De Bruyne to hold on to the ball out to the left-hand side. It's Grealish, he tries to curl it, good save by Martinez. Corner to Manchester City. They're starting to hit their stride, leading by a goal to nil.
Oh, it's brilliant from Kevin De Bruyne. Sorry, I was like, oh my word. The bit of skill that he does on the right-hand side is brilliant. Goes past Digne, he just flicks it one way round Kamara and gets it the other way, and then the timing of the pass is brilliant. Good run from Gundogan, but it's a great save from Martinez. Grealish does everything right, tries to bend it into that far corner. It's a fantastic save, Vicky. Watching the replay, it's outstanding in actual fact. He gets fingertips, brilliant save.
Keeping Aston Villa in it currently. Still just the 1-goal advantage for Manchester City, and here is Kevin De Bruyne after that brilliant run. The Belgian swings in this corner from the right hand side again. Villa don't really deal with it. Gundogan can't latch onto it on the edge of the box. Grealish can, takes it to the left hand side of the penalty area, goes one way then the other, then falls over. The Villa fans enjoyed that. Manchester City fans asking for a free kick as Villa counter. It's not given. Forward looking for the run of Leon Bailey, but very well defended by Kyle Walker, popping up in the left back position there, just easing Bailey off it, who's still getting to his feet, and Manchester City bring the ball away, leading by 1-0.
Yeah, it's good defending, really good defending from Kyle Walker. He just thought, I don't want to race you. I'm going to deal with you on the halfway line. Use his great strength, and that's the experience, and that's why I'm so happy he's back playing, and he's in my fantasy team. Sorry, mate.
Although, as Gundogan has it, you were bemoaning leaving a certain Manchester United player on your bench today.
I left Luke Shaw out, and he had an assist, so yeah, I'm a bit gutted by that, but hopefully Kyle Walker can have an assist.
Riyad Mahrez on the ball for Manchester City, played forward by Rodri, looking for De Bruyne, who's done very well to keep that in, pulls the ball across, excellent interception by Konsa, otherwise that was a tap in for Haaland on the edge of the 6-yard box. Villa have it down by the byline, good defending by Kamara, plays it off Mahrez for the goal kick, but fine margins, Clinton.
Yeah, very good defending from Konsa, he's outstanding there. It was good 1 and 2 touch, De Bruyne making a good run of Kamara again, and he's in there, and you know Kevin De Bruyne, the ball just running out of space, he wants Haaland to come into the 6-yard box, he pulls off, and that's why he doesn't get it, but good defending from Konsa.
De Bruyne's having a great game, isn't he?
He is, he's saying don't leave me out ever again.
I was going to say, the follow-up to that, why didn't you start against Spurs? Hindsight's a wonderful thing, even when you're Pep Guardiola, and of course he was doing something a little bit different tactically, but do you think, as City pick it up on halfway, does that rankle with a player like De Bruyne? Will that have galvanised him as much as anything else?
Not really, he'd just be disappointed, Vicky, that he wasn't playing, and he'd just be thinking, when I get another opportunity, I'll just prove to you, I don't want no rest. I understand if the player's got a slight niggle, but you don't rest De Bruyne in big games when you're playing against Tottenham, no chance. So listen, I never question Pep Guardiola, he's a brilliant manager, but I just feel like Kevin De Bruyne has to play every game if he's fit.
Here is Kyle Walker in possession for Manchester City, who lead by 1-0 on 5 Live in the World Service. Out to the left-hand side, good ball looking for Grealish, well read by Ashley Young, who wins the header, and Grealish takes the throw quickly. Played in field now to Laporte, and all the way back to Bernardo Silva, and City happy to go all the way back to Edison, perhaps just to give him a little something to do. But we should say that there have been a couple of Villa counter-attacks that have looked dangerous, but they need to get the ball to Watkins more. Easier said than done when Manchester City are so dominant in possession. Yeah,
I think Watkins and Bailey have been a threat, but they just have to stay in the game. You're always going to look just like this.
Giving the ball away straight to Leon Bailey, challenged by Diaz, strong challenge. Bailey stayed down. Rob Jones says that's fine. Bailey still down, looks in some pain here as Manchester City stop play and will kick the ball out with Gundogan. Now this is a very interesting decision because Bailey stayed down. It was a strong challenge from Diaz. They played themselves completely into trouble there, Manchester City. Loose pass straight to Bailey midway through the City half. And Diaz decided to go in and make the challenge.
He had to, because once he lunges in, he's the last man. He's committed and he gets the ball. He gets the man and he gets the ball as well, Vicky. It's a great tackle. It's a sloppy pass from Kyle Walker. And Bailey does well. You're thinking one-on-one. Yeah, it's a good tackle. He catches Bailey, but he gets the ball first and he follows through. So, brilliant defending from Diaz.
And had he not got it spot on, I mean, there were City defenders arriving, but they would have had a look at it for a denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. So, could have been very costly for Diaz, but Rob Jones happy with the challenge, Clinton happy as well, and Bailey is up to his feet. Edison has come out just to check that Bailey is okay, and Manchester City, you would think, will be given the ball back by Aston Villa. Manchester United 2-0 winners at Leeds United earlier in the Premier League. All the highlights from today's Premier League games are on Match of the Day 2.
Just seen
Mark Chapman, Ian Wright and Jermaine Genius. 10:30 tonight, BBC One. Clinton.
Sorry, Vic. Haaland just come over and was just getting a bit of treatment from the physios. I see the physios talking to the coaches. They're rubbing his knee and his thigh. So we have to watch that. He might have a slight problem.
Well, fortunately for Villa, Leon Bailey is jogging over. He's still grimacing, Bailey, but looks as though he will be all right to continue. But yeah, good spot, Clinton. We will certainly keep a sharp eye on that. Erling Haaland, whose goals have earned Manchester City a league high 18 points this season. Where do you stand, Clinton, on the debate about, I mean, it's 31 goals for the season in all competitions. It on some level seems like a ridiculous debate to be having, but whether Haaland has made Manchester City a better or worse team, or does that even come into it?
I don't think it comes into it, Vicky. He's been brought in to score goals. You've just said these numbers are fantastic at the moment. He's also been brought in to win them the Champions League. I think that's when you really will see the best of, well, you've seen the best of Haaland anyway. We've seen it in the Champions League and also in the Premier League. He hasn't. He's just different because he wants to score goals. He doesn't want to come and link the play. He's an out-and-out centre forward, but no one could ever question Haaland. And I hate that when people do, when Man City have a bad game, you look at the centre forward. No, he was making good runs against Tottenham. No one was finding him.
Ball over the top from Rodri, Manchester City's goal scorer. Good header won by Luca Digne, who then slightly kicked the ball away as the ball went out for the Manchester City throw, but they put it back quickly. No harm done, and Kyle Walker will take this throw for Manchester City. Back to Diaz on the halfway line. But City looking relatively comfortable, leading by the goal to nil as Mahrez has it on the right hand side. And now Kyle Walker all the way back to Ruben Diaz, just inside the centre circle. Manchester City, as things stand, closing to within 3 points of leaders Arsenal, ahead of that huge game against the Gunners in midweek. You'll be able to listen to commentary of that on 5 Live as the ball is cleared away by Aston Villa. Will go out for a throw to Manchester City on the halfway line. Here is Rodri, sends it back to Bernardo Silva. He's urged forward by the Etihad. Ruben Diaz now picks it up on the halfway line, has Walker as an option, but this is what City do, isn't it? You know, they just slot into this rhythm. Suddenly they can go through the gears, but very happy, very patient. And De Bruyne, every time he gets on the ball, is looking to edge the gears up 1 or 2. Out to the right-hand side now. Mahrez was caught down there by Luca Digne. Clear foul, and it will be a yellow card for Digne as well. Good position this for the free kick, Manchester City, just about level with the edge of the 6-yard box, about 4 yards or so outside the penalty area right hand side. Yeah,
I tell you one thing they do, they slow Man City, and then they just quicken it out, 1 and 2 touches, and he's in trouble now, Digne, because Mahrez is causing him problems, and you don't want to be booked this early in the game as well.
But he is, and it's a free kick to Manchester City. 9 minutes plus added time to play in this first half on 5 Live on the World Service. Can they find a way to double their advantage and once again test Aston Villa from a set piece? We'll be heading to Ibrox shortly. The Partick Thistle are looking for a huge upset against Rangers, but we will see this free kick first. Manchester City looking to make it 2-0 against Aston Villa. De Bruyne is standing over it. Mahrez is there as well. Rob Jones is just making sure that nothing untoward is going on inside the penalty area. A little bit of pushing and shoving on the penalty spot, which is where most of the players are congregated. 2-player Villa wall. It's left for De Bruyne, who swings the ball in, and Rodri was up there again. The header eventually came off Rodri, so it's a Villa goal kick straight to Ibrox. Ronnie Forsyth.
Rangers 1, Partick Thistle 1. Antonio Cholak, the man who was penalised for the penalty kick that had put Partick Thistle ahead, was left unmarked beyond the back post at a cross, dropping in that area on the header on the bounce to make it Rangers 1, Partick Thistle 1.
Thanks, Ronnie. So Aston Villa preparing to take this goal kick, trailing by a goal to nil against a Manchester City side who have lost 3 of their last 6 games in all competitions. That's as many as in their previous 27 games this season. But we thought there would be a response to the off-field events, and we have to say as well, Clinton, yes, they've had blips this season, but the home form primarily has been outstanding as Aston Villa take a chance there. Haaland could be in here, forced wide as is. Emi Martinez scrambles to get back. Haaland down by the byline, pulls the ball across, and it's tapped in by Gundogan at the far post. Aston Villa getting themselves into a real mix at the back, and in the end they couldn't salvage the situation. Assist for Haaland, on a plate for Gundogan. It's Manchester City 2, Aston Villa 0, and Pep Guardiola's getting the response he wants.
Yeah, to be fair to you, it's a great ball from Kevin De Bruyne. I think Martinez is going to deal with it, but Chambers doesn't know what's behind him. He tries to deal with it, and instead it's a race between Martinez and Haaland. Haaland does well. I thought he was just going to turn and shoot, but he does well. He slows down, he squares up the defender, and just slides it across the box, and Gundogan's got a tap in at the back post. Brilliant centre forward from a play from Haaland. And Vicky, people tell me he's just about scoring goals. He's a lot more than that. He can play as well.
Well, it's unfortunate for Aston Villa. It's excellent vision by Haaland. The angle was just disappearing and disappearing, wasn't it? So he looked up, he picked up Gundogan, who really couldn't miss. And Manchester City have the second goal before half-time. 6 minutes to go in this first half on 5 Live in the World Service. And it's a long way back for Aston Villa now. And it's only 2-0 in many ways, but Manchester City, when they get a 2-goal advantage at the Etihad, they very, very rarely squander it.
Yeah, and it's just before, like literally 4 or 5 minutes before half-time, you don't want to concede, you want to keep it tight. But it's a mistake. Chambers doesn't know Martinez is behind him. If he leaves it, it goes straight to Martinez, deals with it. But I think unless he gets a big call, he has to deal with it.
Well, that's it. Whose responsibility is it there?
Well, it just depends. If Martinez is cool, then he's got to leave the ball. If he doesn't call loud enough, or Chambers thinks he's not getting there, then he tries to deal with it. But in the end, it ends up City scoring.
Chambers, the one change for Aston Villa, enforced to this starting lineup. Tyrone Mings out injured. It's Kamara looks to play it down the right-hand side for Aston Villa, but it's intercepted. Lovely touch by De Bruyne, helped on by Haaland to Gundogan. Back to De Bruyne. Manchester City once again really hitting their stride as Douglas Luiz fouls. De Bruyne just pulls the Belgian down, and it will be a free kick to Manchester City midway through the Aston Villa half. Now Diaz has gone into the book there. The free kick's gone the way of City, but it's for dissent for Diaz, complaining about the decision, you presume, not to book Douglas Luiz.
Yeah, and I'm glad the referee's done that. Too many nowadays we see players running up, always wanting players to get. Let the referee deal with it. Yeah, it should be a yellow card because Douglas Luiz has pulled him, but let the ref doing it. Diaz has run literally 20 yards to go and remonstrate with the referee. So I'm glad he's got that yellow card. Next time he won't be running that quick, will he?
Now, Aymeric Laporte is deep in discussion. I think he's saying, stop it, Ruben. We don't need to do this. And you think Ruben Diaz, he must have said something there, because there's a few City players complaining, and the yellow card is out very quickly from Rob Jones. And fundamentally, it's a pointless yellow, because yes, it's a clear free kick. Yes, you could argue Douglas Luiz potentially could have got a yellow, but we have to say, looking at it again, there's not too much contact there, and De Bruyne is there.
No, there's not. I think the initial contact because he pulls him back, and that's why they want the yellow card. But let the referee ref the game. Even though I did it many a times, ran up to the referee tower. I don't know, since I've come over to this side, I've changed.
Yeah, you've become a new man.
I have.
Always easier
exactly.
sitting in the press box to keep a lid on your emotions than on the pitch, I'm sure. So, 3 minutes plus added time to play. Manchester City leading by 2-0. Free kick. Best part of 30 yards out. Mahrez it will be. He drives it straight into the Villa wall. They're appealing for handball on the edge of the penalty area. Rob Jones unmoved, and Aston Villa will clear up towards halfway, where Bernardo Silva collects, plays the ball in, looking for Haaland, headed away by Konsa. Douglas Luiz will help it forward, nicked away though before Ollie Watkins can collect, and it's all the way back with Edison. I would love to know, I mean, trying to decipher Pep Guardiola's gestures. I mean, that was a great interception ahead of Ollie Watkins, but he still looks absolutely furious, Guardiola.
He's always furious, Guardiola. I think he expects more from his team, and he sets such high standards, and that's how he is, and he'll always be like that, but these players buy into it.
Grealish with the ball forward, good sliding interception by Konsa before Haaland can latch onto it, but again it's one of those fine margins moments. Villa are dealing with them well at the moment, but all it needs is one misplaced pass, one misplaced header, as we saw from Callum Chambers, and City so easily can be in, and it can be so costly. They lead by 2-0 as Unai Emery folds his arms on the touchline. He's lost all 4 of his games against Manchester City as a manager, and it will have to be some half-time team talk. Half-time reset for the visitors is there to fight their way back into this game. Manchester City in control, leading by 2-0 on 5 Live in the World Service. Villa have won it though on the halfway line. Leon Bailey though dispossessed, and Mahrez will send it infield to Gundogan. Out to the left-hand side he goes and finds Laporte. He plays the ball over halfway. Here is Jack Grealish. There's the option of De Bruyne inside, but lays it back to Laporte, and Laporte will send it to Bernardo Silva. Out once more to Laporte on the left-hand side, and Manchester City just ticking along nicely in the centre of midfield. Forward now they go. Ollie Watkins tries to get a foot in, but Bernardo Silva has played it. Oh, is that a penalty there? Yes, it is. Clinton Morrison called it straight away. Penalty to Manchester City. Lovely play down the left-hand side once again, and Rob Jones very clearly pointed to the spot as Grealish went down. The former Villa man played in by Bernardo Silva. Oh, Jacob Ramsey was with him. What do we reckon, Clinton?
He's unlucky, to be fair, because Jack Grealish has got the other side of it. I'm trying to look at that replay again. Because Grealish has run across him and Ramsey's run the other way. I don't think that's a penalty, Vicky. I don't think he touches him, do you?
VAR are going to have a really close look at this, and you know, it's an accusation that's been levelled at Jack Grealish before, and it's being levelled right now by the Aston Villa away fans.
Hold on a minute, and why is Haaland not taking the penalty? Why is Mahrez taking the penalty? Haaland's the penalty taker, isn't he?
Well, this is fascinating. Yes, Haaland 4 out of 4. VAR look to be happy. Rob Jones is telling everybody to go back, so penalty does stand. It's Mahrez, not Haaland, for Manchester City from the spot. It's Mahrez, it's down the middle, it doesn't matter. It's scored anyway. Manchester City lead by 3. And Aston Villa are really up against it now. Before half-time, Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 0.
No chance am I letting him take the ball off me. I know he used to be the penalty taker, but if I'm the new signing and I'm the star man and the goal scorer, I'm taking the penalty. No way is Riyad Mahrez. I'm surprised at that with Haaland. I thought he would take the ball, because I remember the first game of the season he ran straight away to get the ball. So unless there's been a bit of a conversation, he is the penalty taker. I still feel that's a harsh penalty. I actually feel Jack's running across him and Ramsey's trying to run, and we can't see because we're looking on the monitor and it doesn't look like there's any contact. Might be the slightest of contact for Jack Grealish. I did shout straight away penalty. When you look at the replay, it looks like it's a harsh one.
Do you know what? Just looking as Villa get us underway, Manchester City leading by 3-0. Couple of things. It was a quick check by VAR. There weren't too many protests from the Villa players, and whether on our angles we're not seeing a touch, because he's moving at speed, Grealish, so it is one of those that if he gets a touch, as the offside flag goes up and Manchester City have a free kick just inside their own half, if he does get a touch there, because of the speed at which he's moving, he will say, well look, it might not be much of a touch, but it does knock me off balance, it knocks me out of my stride. But we have to say, having seen the replays, that touch from the replays we've seen, it is not clear. But the fact that the Villa players and Jacob Ramsey, for example, are not protesting it so
there must have been definitely a bit of contact.
Well, certainly what Rob Jones felt, certainly what VAR felt, and I'm sure after the day that VAR had yesterday that they will have looked at that closely. But fascinating, yeah, as you say, Mahrez taking that. Haaland's on the ball here. Mahrez, he'd only scored 2 out of 4 penalties for Manchester City.
Surprised, I'm very surprised. I thought Haaland wants to break all kinds of records. The main centre forward. No way. I'm just surprised. But if he is the penalty taker, Mahrez, then he's the penalty taker. But I just thought Haaland, as you said, Vicky, every time I've come and watched City, he's been the penalty taker.
Well, didn't matter in the end. Manchester City stuck the spot kick away through Riyad Mahrez. And we're into added time at the end of this first half. And it's been very, very comfortable indeed for Manchester City. 3-0. They lead Aston Villa. And here is Laporte on the ball, all the way back to Ruben Diaz. And the question now for Pep Guardiola approaching half-time, I mean, you've got Arsenal coming up at the Emirates on Wednesday. At what point do you start about thinking to make some changes as Callum Chambers clears away from Haaland on the edge of the penalty area.
Well, I don't know if they've got a problem at the back, because he just told Akanji to go and get warmed up, and that's just before half-time, so we'll have to wait and see.
Here come Aston Villa looking to get a goal back just before the break. Ball across is over the head of Douglas Luiz, who pursues it out of the penalty area, picks it up. Here's Buendia, who's been very quiet, goes down on the edge of the box under pressure. Half a shout for handball, and the half-time whistle goes. Well, Pep Guardiola couldn't have gone much better for his sides on the pitch after a very challenging week off it. But 3 goals in this first half. Rodri early on, Gundogan with the tap-in after great work from Haaland, and Mahrez, not Haaland, from the spot. Clinton Morrison, it's all smiles on the pitch for Manchester City at the Etihad.
Yeah, it's been a good first half for Man City. Obviously, all the stuff that's happened off the field hasn't affected the players. I said it wouldn't affect the players. It's been a really professional performance, and they were never going to slip up this afternoon.
Long way back for Unai Emery, whose winless run against Pep Guardiola looks set to continue unless Aston Villa can do something remarkable in this second half. Half-time at the Etihad, Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 0.
Clinton, I've just seen on social media that Manchester City fans had a banner before the game with the name of their lawyer, Lord Panic, on it. I don't think I've ever seen a lawyer with a banner at a football match before. But now we can focus on what's happening on the pitch. It's near enough an ideal half for City, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a perfect half. 3-0 up. You would literally say game over. With this team at Man City, I've seen great comebacks, but no way. Villa have struggled really to create any chances. Man City have been dominant, have obviously got a point to prove, and they proved the point in this first half. Crossy, they've been outstanding.
If someone had told me that Erling Haaland would get a great assist and then City would get a penalty and he wouldn't take it, I would never have believed him.
Me neither. I would have said he was off the pitch. If City got a penalty and he didn't take the penalty, I would have thought Haaland was off the pitch. I'm surprised. I said it to Vicky in commentary. I cannot believe he's not took the penalty. Regardless if Mahrez is the penalty taker, no. I'm the star man. I've been scoring all the goals. I've took all the penalties when I'm on the pitch. Take the penalty. But as I said, if he is the penalty taker, Mahrez, and he's stepped up and took it, you're not going to argue with the manager, are you? And luckily he scored.
Watching De Bruyne play as well, I still can't get my head around him having been dropped for that Tottenham game. It just, none of it makes any sense to me. He wasn't injured. Pep Guardiola said he wasn't injured. I know he's not had, by his own standards, his best season, but you can't leave him out.
No, you can't, Crossy. Makes the game look so easy, don't he? He's fantastic. I love watching him play. And you can hear me in commentary going, I can't believe it. And everyone be thinking, he's always talking about De Bruyne. I'm talking about him because he's one of the world's best. And you're right, by his standards, he probably hasn't had the season that he wanted to, but he's still a top player.
So we've had a penalty there. We've got another penalty at Ibrox in the Scottish Cup. Rangers Partick Thistle, Roddy Forsyth.
Well, maybe's aye, maybe's no. It's a penalty VAR check. It looked as though Bannigan brought down Tillman inside the box. The referee pointed immediately to the spot, but we've got the big screen, the dreaded screen, that's telling us that we're going to have to wait. So perhaps you might want to go on with your chat, and I'll give you a shout if we ever get a resolution, eh?
Thank you very much, Roddy. We will be back with you. Let's check in at the cricket then. Bangladesh, Sri Lanka are facing each other in the T20 World Cup. Adam Mountford is watching.
Yeah, good start for Bangladesh, but they have lost a couple of wickets. 36 for 2 in the 5th over. This Sri Lanka side full of confidence following their shock victory over host South Africa in the tournament opener. A win for Sri Lanka would give them a great chance of making the semi-finals. Khartoum run out for a first ball duck, and just a few moments ago Sultana was caught behind off Ranasinghe for 20. Enthusiastic crowd here at Newlands, really enjoying this, still buzzing after India's thrilling win over Pakistan earlier. 40 for 2 in the 5th over Bangladesh. There's commentary on this on 5 Sports Extra with digital in-play clips on the BBC Sport website and app.
It was a penalty, but Roddy,
Jamie Snedden of Partick Thistle has saved from the penalty expert James Tavernier, but what is happening? Is the referee going to order a rating? I don't know. Something has attracted his attention, and it should be a corner kick for Rangers after a penalty save. But in these days of VAR, we never quite know what's happening, and the referee appears to indicate, yes, it's a corner kick and it can proceed to be taken. But that was a shocker for Tavernier, who normally is so deadly from the spot. And it's still Rangers 1, Partick Thistle 1.
Lines will be opening very shortly for 606 08085 909 693 is the number to call to book your call to speak to Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. We will chat to the guys very, very shortly. And then we've got second half commentary on the way from the Etihad of Manchester City. Aston Villa, City leading 3-0 at the break. Reaction to come from Manchester United's win over Leeds as well after the news with Carl Hartley.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The number of people confirmed to have died in the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria has passed 33,000. Aid agencies are warning that number could rise dramatically, with thousands of bodies still being found every day. Qatar say they will send 10,000 cabins and caravans used during the World Cup to provide temporary housing for people who've lost their homes. Cheshire Police have launched a murder investigation following the death of a teenage girl. Brianna Jai, who was 16 and from Birchwood, was found with a number of stab wounds in a park near Warrington yesterday afternoon. Detectives say it was a truly awful attack and are keen to speak to a man and woman in their late teens or early 20s who were seen in the park. A teenager has been charged with assault and violent disorder after protests outside a hotel housing asylum seekers in Merseyside on Friday. Gerard Skeet, who's 19, will appear in court tomorrow. The chair of the BBC, Richard Sharp, insists he did nothing wrong as he faces pressure to resign after a critical report from MPs into his appointment. A committee of ministers say he made significant errors of judgment, acting as a go-between on a loan for Boris Johnson while applying for the post. Lord Vasey, who's a Conservative peer and former culture minister, says Mr Sharp's connection to the Tory party were already known.
This is an irrelevant issue in the sense that the key issue here is Richard Sharp got connections with the leadership of the Tory party. At the time he applied, he was working for Rishi Sunak. He has made donations to the Tory party. Richard Sharp is connected to the Tory party.
And Ukrainian data claims that Russian soldiers are dying in greater numbers in Ukraine this month than at any time since the first week of the invasion. The figures show 824 Russian soldiers are dying every day in February. The figures can't be verified, but the Ministry of Defence says that the numbers are likely to be accurate.
NFL on BBC Radio 5 Live. Super Bowl 57.
Snap, placement, it's good!
Tonight at 11, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs take on Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles.
Deep ball, middle of the field, it's pulled in!
Join Vernon Kay, Greg Brady and Christian Scotland-Williamson for live commentary.
It's the Super Bowl, the greatest sporting event the world has ever seen.
Super Bowl 57.
On 5 Live and BBC Sounds. This is 5 Live Sport.
With Steve Crossman.
Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 0. Second half commentary on the way from the Etihad. Six Nations, first of all, the Steve Borthwick era is up and running. His England team beat Italy 31-14 at Twickenham this afternoon, and afterwards he spoke to Sonia McLaughlin.
I think there was elements that were positive, and I think some things have taken a step forward. You know, I think ultimately we'd have liked that ruck speed to have been a bit better. I think there was times the game was too slow, and you have to credit Italy with slowing that down. So I think yes, there was some things that went well. There's plenty to get better on mind.
Were you purring watching those England forwards flexing their muscles, particularly that driving maul?
Ultimately, we haven't had a maul for some time, and clearly when I talked about we need to build a set piece, you need to build a scrum. Our scrum took a step forward last week. Our maul's taking a step forward this week. There's plenty to go though. We're a bit behind, so I think it was a step forward. But in other areas, as I talk about the speed of the game, I think we left chances out there. If we'd played a bit quicker, I think we'd have taken some more chances.
Steve Borthwick there with Sonia McLaughlin. Let's go back to Twickenham. Tell you what, why don't we speak to a World Cup winner and a Grand Slam winner? Danny Kerr and Kat Merchant have joined us. Danny, was that an England win made in Leicester stylistically?
Yeah, it looked like it. It was a win. I think that's all that matters. Yeah. Steve Borthwick got his first win as England coach. England very, very dominant up front with the set piece, the driving maul and the scrum especially, and they did what they needed to do. But what's one thing's for certain, they're going to have to play better if they're going to try and take on Ireland and the French.
You always think, I suppose, when it's Italy, for a start you've got to win, and they did that. But was this job done or better than job done?
I think better than job done, considering how Italy have vastly improved over the previous years. They are a different side than we're used to seeing, and they really put France to test last week. So England, under pressure, they've had change in coaches, they've had change in personnel, in position, etc. So for them to bond together, as Danny said, have great set piece, a good platform to play off, better than job done. good win, and then can move forward to in 2 weeks' time.
You could hear it in his voice, though, Danny, couldn't you? He's not going to get carried away by that. Nothing close to it.
No, you can't. And obviously they were humbled a little bit by Scotland here last weekend, which was they're an awful start to the tournament. And England can only get better, and they did today. They got the job done. They're going to go to Wales in a couple of weeks' time. Wales haven't pitched up yet this Six Nations. They'll be a different beast at home come 2 weeks' time. And then the big acid test of this team is how they're going to go against the two best teams in the world in Ireland and France. Because if anyone caught their game yesterday, they're playing on a different level at the moment, and England have got a lot to do to improve to be able to take them on.
I think one or two people might have caught it, Danny. Yeah, it was a heck of a game. They both were yesterday, actually. Look, obviously, Kat, the big decision going into this one was the selection of Owen Farrell at 10. How did he perform, and do you think, looking at that today, that could be what he goes with going forward?
Yeah, he played really well in terms of the way that clearly they wanted to go out and play this game. They wanted to play structured, they wanted to kick in behind, they wanted to put pressure on, and they delivered in that sense. Now, that said, Marcus Smith is a fantastic player as well, and he brings something very different to that. It's just whether they play together or whether they come on, replace each other and to build off it. But I think, selection-wise, Borthwick's probably going to go with Farrell again at 10.
Is it a good time, Danny, to have the week off and just get everyone together and have a bit of a think without the spectre of another game coming up really quickly?
Yeah, I think the fallow weeks are so important during the Six Nations. You can't expect the lads to go back to back and play 5 incredibly hostile, high-intensity test matches in a row. So the fallow week is also another week for Steve Borthwick and his coaches to get the boys on the training park and working on the things that they want to implement. I thought you could see today that they'd had an extra week. Things in their attack was clicking a little bit better. Their defence, they seemed to have a little bit more about them physically. I think they looked a bit leggy against Scotland, and they maybe toned that down a little bit this week and got some real positive acts out of their defence as well. So another week will be better for England.
Danny, Kat, thank you very much indeed. There'll be lots more reaction at 8 tonight on 5 Live. Then there's the Rugby Union Daily tomorrow as well. You can join Chris Jones and Ugo Monya. Let's go back to Roddy Forsyth. Now, Roddy,
yes.
If I was expecting you to understand what just happened, you were ready to tell us, and now something entirely bizarre has gone on.
Well, Malik Tillman put Rangers ahead just a few moments ago and sparked off a brawl in the Partick Thistle penalty area, and Thistle have now been allowed to draw level without any opposition from that kickoff. And the reason, I believe, is because the game had been stopped to allow Tillman to get treatment. He'd been injured, and then when it was started, the ball had been kicked out of play by a Partick Thistle player, and then when it was put back into play, it should of course have been courteously returned to them, and Tillman got hold of it, ran round the goalkeeper, who got a hold of him and swung at him and scored the goal. But since then, Partick Thistle have been allowed an equaliser, so it's now 2 each.
I feel like we've not heard the last of that. I haven't seen that happen for a very, very long time. Bizarre. The two managers have just had a big handshake anyway. But the goalkeeper, Roddy, seemed to not realise what was going on. He was the only one who tried to stop Partick scoring.
Well, nobody seemed to know what was going on for a moment, and then we realised that the referee had indicated, yes, Thistle could run up the field with the ball. And yes, nobody seems to have told Alan McGregor, who tried to save it and forced the goal scorer to run wide. So it's been a very bizarre game, and it ain't finished yet. Rangers 2, Partick Thistle 2.
Very odd. Still could get a massive shock there, of course, with 15 minutes to go. Partick Thistle of the Championship at Ibrox, drawing 2-2. It was an eventful afternoon in the WSL as well at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Manchester United went top of the WSL after a 2-1 victory. It also finished Aston Villa 6, or rather Brighton 2, Aston Villa 6, and Leicester were 1-0 winners at Liverpool. Following us here on 5 Live, it'll be time for 606. Robbie Savage is with us. Afternoon, Robbie.
How are you, Steve? I'm sure Chris Sutton will be an interested listener in that Rangers 2-2. Do you remember he done something similar at Highbury for Blackburn?
Did he now? I was just trying to think. The last one I remember was Leeds under Bielsa.
Leeds Villa.
Yeah.
But Chris done something similar. Blackburn, they were given the ball back. He chased it down, crossed it, and Blackburn actually scored. And then, obviously, Martin Keown chased him off. And Chris,
he's still chasing him, I think, isn't he?
Yeah. So there you go. That sums Chris Sutton up all over, doesn't it?
Well, that is a cracking story, isn't it?
Yeah,
great story.
But 606, mate. Great win for Manchester United. Rashford, wow, what? how good is he at the minute? I heard you speaking to Chris Waddle, totally agreed with what you were saying, Steve. Man City, that game against Arsenal on Wednesday is huge. And then VAR last night. Listen, I'd done the Arsenal game, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't see the offside, but listen to the PGMOL. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's the one.
Talking about it today, and they've missed it. How can you miss it? I can't get it, Stephen.
It's just human error. I mean, we've all done really stupid things, haven't we, Robbie? That certainly as a broadcaster, I probably do it every week. Maybe not that bad, but sometimes you just have a moment, don't you? I think that's probably what happens.
But when you got one job, you look at it, the goal goes, and you check the goal. Howard Webb, listen, he's new to this role, but they've all got to do better. It's human error. You got one job. It's to look when a goal goes in, check it.
It's an awful error, isn't it? But
terrible.
But he does have other jobs though, because he's. I know. I'm not trying to defend it. It's a terrible error.
Honestly,
it's a terrible error.
The handball last night as well, Souček. That's handball. It's handball. I don't think he was. The law is if he's going down and hits his arm, it's the letter of the law saying it's not a penalty. But come on, common sense. It's a penalty. The referees applied the law. It's an interpretation, but it was wrong. So anyway, Man City, what a performance in that first half. Looking forward to 606, Steve. 08085 909 693.
Nice one, Robbie. Thanks you very much. You can call now and get your call booked in for when Robbie and Chris are with you off the back of full commentary at the Etihad. So it's the second half. Manchester City leading Aston Villa by 3-0, and Clinton Morrison's with Vicky Sparks.
Thank you, Steve. We're underway. Manchester City in possession, and Manchester City who have made 2 changes with that huge match with Arsenal at the Emirates very much on the mind of Pep Guardiola. Julian Alvarez has replaced Erling Haaland, and Manuel Akanji is on for Ruben Diaz. So City in possession in the sky blue shirts, the white shorts and the sky blue socks. Aston Villa in the change strip of all black, and it's Grealish coming down the left hand side, goes down, wins the free kick. I suppose, do you know what though, I'm going to say this, I suppose the positive for Jack Grealish is he's the opposite end now of the stadium from the Aston Villa fans, but I feel like a player like Jack Grealish probably relishes winning that penalty right in front of them at the end of the first half, which has seen Manchester City, through Mahrez sticking that away, take this 3-goal lead.
Yeah, Jack loves it, and you know what, credit to Jack at the moment. Jack Grealish, he's playing ever so well. He's in good form at the moment, and long may it continue. He's been outstanding so far in this game, but yeah, the substitutions are sensible substitutions, Vicky, with the game coming up on Wednesday.
So free kick to Manchester City will be left for Mahrez, who swings it in left-footed, cleared away at the back by Ollie Watkins, and will be trapped down by the corner flag by Leon Bailey for Aston Villa, who pulls it back. Konsa clears up towards halfway. No changes for Villa at half-time. Aston Villa, who look as though they are continuing this poor run at Manchester City. They are heading for a 13th Premier League defeat in a row away to Manchester City, trailing by 3-0. Walker in possession for City, squares it to Akanji, one of those 2 changes. So City now lining up with Ederson in goal, the back 4 of Walker, Akanji, Rodri and Laporte, although really Rodri really has very little drop back into that back 4, largely because Villa haven't been in possession. So it's more of a 3 with Walker, Akanji and Laporte as Manchester City race into the penalty area. De Bruyne will pull it back to Grealish, left-hand side of the box, tees up Bernardo Silva, who dinks it in, miscue clearance, falls once more, and driven by Rodri. Good save by Martinez, because he got real power in the strike there, Rodri. Martinez down sharply to smother.
No, it's a good save. It's a good ball from Akanji. A great run from Kevin De Bruyne again. Plays it to Jack Grealish. He plays it back to Bernardo's. Good cross into the box. Falls to Rodri, and he doesn't hit it cleanly enough, but it's a good save from Martinez.
So to finish off that Manchester City lineup, it's Silva, Gundogan and Rodri in midfield. Alvarez playing through the centre, although at the moment De Bruyne is taking up that role. But De Bruyne and Alvarez at the moment rotating between the 10 and the central striker, with Grealish on the left and Mahrez on the right. And there in a nutshell is the fluidity of this Manchester City side, and why they are so hard to contain when they get going, as they have done in the first half, as Aston Villa concede the ball over on halfway. Villa with Martinez in goal, the back four of Young, Konsa, Chambers and Digne. Ahead of them Ramsey, Kamara, Louise and Buendia, with Bailey and Watkins up front. If you're Unai Emery, Clinton Morrison, how do you approach this second half, trailing us this side up by 3-0?
Before I answer that, Vicky, Pep Guardiola is the best. He's going mad there at his players, and they're 3-0 up. And they're in good possession, but he's moaning at Jack Grealish, telling him to pass on some information. It's just brilliant. But he's relentless. He never lets his foot off the pedal, and that's why he's a fantastic manager. If you're Unai Emery, just try and say win the second half, or don't make it 5 or 6, because Man City could beat anyone 5 or 6 when they're in this kind of form. But yeah, just not stay in the match. Obviously, you'd like to score a goal, but you can't lose 5 or 6 just for confidence.
Gundogan plays it back to Laporte on this left-hand side, midway through the Aston Villa half, and now back to Rodri. His early header got things underway for City. Back to Gundogan, also on the score sheet, well anticipated on the edge of his own penalty area by Callum Chambers, as Rodri is then penalised for a foul on Boubacar Kamara, and Aston Villa will have the free kick midway inside their own half. Manchester United's 2-0 winners at Leeds in the Premier League's earlier kick-off. Late goals from Rashford and Garnacho, which temporarily took them above Manchester City in the Premier League table, but City have reversed that with this 3-0 scoreline. They are moving to within 3 points of Arsenal, ahead of that monumentous encounter at the Emirates on Wednesday. You'll be able to hear full commentary with John Murray and the team on Wednesday here on 5 Live, as Ashley Young takes the throw for Aston Villa all the way back to Konsa. He's closed down by Alvarez, who does win the ball but bundles Konsa over as he does so, and Villa have the free kick. Clinton Morrison.
Yeah, as I said, Man City have started off just like they did in the first half. Villa need possession. I think Unai Emery might look to his bench, add a bit more pace in that midfield with John McGinn, who's not been in the team recently. Could he bring on Coutinho?
Miscontrolled by Martinez. Alvarez almost, sorry to jump in there, Clinton, almost snaffling the ball inside the 6-yard box. Just got the ball stuck under his feet there, didn't he, Emi Martinez? But Villa have cleared it, and it's back with Martinez, but no pressure this time from City.
No, you were spot on. I'm glad he did get rid of it, to be fair. But yeah, it was heart in the mouth stuff.
Ball up to halfway, looking for the run of Ollie Watkins, and Manchester City will send it all the way back to Edison. Let's head for an update from Ibrox. What a game this has been, Roddy Forsyth.
Yes, indeed. Rangers 2, Partick Thistle 2. And just to clear up exactly what happened when the second goals for each side were in, Tillman had been getting treatment, but Rangers had put the ball out to allow him to get treatment. Thistle were going to give it back to Rangers when he was finished his physio. He got up, and instead of allowing that to happen, he grabbed the ball and ran up to the goal and tucked it behind the Thistle goalkeeper, who went potty. Then, after a long dispute between the two teams, the play started again, and Michael Beale instructed his Rangers players to allow Scott Tiffany to run from the centre circle and put the ball into their net for the equaliser, but nobody told Alan McGregor, and he tried to save it. Anyway, in the end, it's 2 each.
Thanks, Roddy. So the shot could still be on for Partick Thistle at Ibrox as Manchester City come to the edge of the penalty area, forced backwards, and Akanji now has it on halfway. It reminds me of that goal that Leeds scored against Aston Villa. Was it back in 2019?
Yes, you're right.
All the controversy, and then Bielsa allowing Villa to walk through and score unopposed. Oh, we love a bit of drama here on 5 Live as Gundogan plays it through. And Martinez comes and takes the drama out of that move by gathering on the edge of his 6-yard box. Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 0 it remains.
Yeah, it's good play. The City have come out and they're saying they want more goals. You can see the way Gundogan's playing, Kevin De Bruyne into pockets, Mahrez, Alvarez will want to get on the score sheet coming on.
Ball over the top, looking for the run of Leon Bailey, but it's just far too easy that for Edison, isn't it?
Yeah, this is what I mean. I understand what Martinez is trying to do, but when you're not got a lot of possession, try and make a few passes.
Here goes Jack Grealish down the left-hand side, takes the ball in his stride, cuts it back, looking for Gundogan. Little slip, won't run for Manchester City on the edge of the penalty area. Almost doesn't run for Villa, but Douglas Luiz does get a toe to the ball. Challenged by Bernardo Silva. Ball out of play for an Aston Villa throw. But you can see the frustration from Douglas Luiz. It has just not been Villa's afternoon at all.
No, and him being obviously... Yeah, he was at Man City, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, never made his senior debut, but that was really to do with work permit issues.
It was.
Yeah.
You always want to impress, though, when it doesn't work out at a football club for you.
Yeah. As Kamara picks it up in the centre of the field, that's better. Forward to Jacob Ramsey, and now out to the left-hand side, and Buendia, who will drive it in, looking for the run of Bailey. Just got a little nudge there from Laporte, but does collect down by the corner flag. Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 0. here on BBC 5 Live in the World Service, and the ball goes out of play, and it will be a Manchester City throw, and just nothing is sticking at the moment for Villa, is it, Clinton?
No, he's got to be stronger there, Leon Bailey. He gets his body up, he's got to get his arm out and his body out and just shield the ball from Laporte, and then it's easy for Man City to win the throw, and that's why I'm looking at Unai Emery and thinking, is he going to make changes?
Well, at the moment, he is standing just inside that dotted white line of his technical area, hands in his pockets, watching on his side, trailing by 3-0 as Rodri wins the header. Alvarez, good strength, shepherds it away from Ponce, still just inside their own half. Manchester City inhabit over on the right-hand side now. In field to Rodri, now back to Bernardo Silva, pulls the ball back to Laporte, who picks it up from Akanji. And square now to Silva once more. Manchester City play it forward to Rodri, out to the right-hand side, and Riyad Mahrez and Julian Alvarez through the centre. Has the overlap of Kyle Walker, but Mahrez goes to De Bruyne instead, and for once, no other word for it, De Bruyne's delivery is shocking, and it goes behind for an Aston Villa goal kick.
You summed that up brilliantly, shocking. By the standards of Kevin De Bruyne, anyone else should think, okay, they've got that in him. He hasn't. Usually always puts the ball on the money, but yeah, it's all Man City at the moment. And you know what, Vicky, when you're watching games like that, it must be so disheartening for the away team, Aston Villa, because you know it's 3-0 down and the game's over. How do you approach the second half? As I said earlier, you try not to lose it or get hammered in the second half.
Well, they haven't failed to score in any of Unai Emery's previous 8 Premier League games, so there is that to encourage them. Pep Guardiola's not happy again, turns to his bench and spreads his hands out.
Vic, you know what I've seen? Every time someone's forced a long pass and it's got cut out, that's when he's frustrated. I think he just wants his team to play through the phases, 1 and 2 touch, and that is why he's getting frustrated.
Ball picked up inside the centre circle by Gundogan. Grealish picks it up, left-hand side of the penalty area, into the box, pulls it across. Oh, it was a good ball, but Alvarez just didn't attack it inside the 6-yard area. It goes out for a Villa throw to Ibrox. There's been a goal. Roddy Forsyth.
And at last, for Rangers' point of view, they've taken the lead 3-2 now. It was a corner kick and James Sands went up for it. He's claiming it, then the announcer has given him credit for the header, but it looked to us like a Conor McAvoy own goal. Either way, it's Rangers 3, Partick Thistle 2.
Thanks, Roddy. They've battled so hard. Partick Thistle is there to be. Another late twist in the Scottish Cup. You'll hear it here first on 5 Live, if so. Here at the Etihad, Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 0 as Manchester City pick up the ball with Bernardo Silva and send it all the way back to Edison. Clinton Morrison, you are engaged with Pep Guardiola once more.
He's engaged with Jack Grealish. He's nearly running on the pitch, arms out. Jack Grealish gets into a good position and he overhits it. He wants him to delay it because Kevin De Bruyne is coming on the outside. He can just roll it to him and he's got a shot at goal. But it's brilliant. When you're here and you watch it live, Pep Guardiola kicks every ball. But it is interesting as an ex-player, even to watch. You're always learning, and he's brilliant.
Kevin De Bruyne in possession, just inside the Aston Villa half, out to the left-hand side. A brilliant control by Jack Grealish again into the penalty area, lays it off for Bernardo Silva. Delivery across, no sky blue shirt was there, and it spins just about behind. Riyad Mahrez there, came bombing down the right-hand side. Nobody really picked him up, almost managed to keep that ball in from Bernardo Silva, which looked for all the world as though it was going to float harmlessly out. In the end, Mahrez just unable to retain possession, and it's out for an Aston Villa goal kick. In terms of, the on-pitch importance of this match is so stark. Obviously, Manchester City not taking advantage last weekend when Arsenal dropped points. Looks as though, unless we're to see a near miraculous comeback from Aston Villa, they will very much be taking the 3 points today. They'll sit just 3 points behind Arsenal in the Premier League table. As Aston Villa give the ball away. Manchester City come down the right-hand side looking for this 4th goal. Ball into the area. Alvarez miscued the shot, and Martinez gathers from his compatriot and will bring it out for Aston Villa. But how important, Clinton, was this match given the context of everything else that happened this week, or is that going to be such an ongoing process that really this is purely about just chasing down Arsenal? Yeah,
this is purely about chasing down Arsenal. All right, it has got the side distraction of what's happened off the pitch, and you was always going to look at the next game and how the Man City players reacted, but it's all about chasing down Arsenal. They didn't capitalise last week when Arsenal dropped points. They're definitely going to capitalise this weekend, and then it goes to the big game, and they have to win it. Man City have to win it. Arsenal would take a draw. City have to win it. If they want to win the title, they have to go to the Emirates and try and win that game. If not, win the second game here at the Etihad.
Join us on Wednesday night. Arsenal against Manchester City in the Premier League. Full commentary on 5 Live. Walker, brilliant run down the right-hand side. Feeds De Bruyne. Just gets the ball stuck under his feet. Good defending by Kamara outside the Aston Villa penalty area. And Aston Villa will bring it away with Douglas Luiz. Nice little dink pass out to this right-hand side. Will it be collected by Jacob Ramsey as Aston Villa preparing to make a triple change. John McGinn, Alex Moreno, and a new arrival, John Duran, preparing to come on. And we wondered whether Emery would make the changes. He's waited. 13 minutes gone in this second half. But in a way, as Konsa steers it back to Martinez, it is one of those where a triple change just gives you the impetus, doesn't it? Just to try and shake things up a bit for Villa.
Yeah, it hasn't worked out, and it's an opportunity for the players that haven't been playing, the Moreno, McGinn, Duran, to come on and make an impact, to stake a claim and say they want to be in that 11.
Right, so here we go. Here are the changes. And the first player to make way is Emi Buendia. He's had a really quiet afternoon, Clinton, hasn't he, Buendia?
Yeah, he has. He's been good for them over the last month or so, but he's had a really quiet game. You're right, but he's a player. He needs his team to dominate the football. When you're not dominating the football, I think it is disappointing. The only thing with Villa, I'm thinking about it, 7 goals so far in the last 2 games they conceded, Vicky. And Unai Emery will not be happy with that.
So the other 2 players making way for Villa are Luca Digne and Leon Bailey.
Yeah.
So McGinn, Alex Moreno and John Duran, who was missed off the team sheet initially, so we thought he wasn't involved, but then received clarification that no, that was an error. So the 19-year-old who arrived last month from the MLS side Chicago Fire is on. Made his debut in the last match against Leicester. It will be interesting. I mean, we talk about free. It is a free hit, really, for him, isn't it? To come on, 3-0 down, just try and impress Unai Emery.
Yeah, definitely. I'm surprised he's not brought on Matty Cash to give him maybe a few minutes. Obviously, he's still got Philippe Coutinho, but I can understand why he's not putting him on. The game's over, to be fair. The only way you bring him on is if you want to give him minutes, because
Aston Villa have picked it up here. Ollie Watkins into the penalty area. They've got to go back. Maybe, just maybe, this isn't quite over yet at the Etihad. Ollie Watkins scores for the 3rd Premier League game running for the first time in his career and gives Villa a smidgen of hope.
Yeah.
Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 1.
And you're right, Vicky, and it's Man City, they're overplaying. Laporte plays it to Bernardo Silva. He loses the ball. Douglas Luiz does ever so well. And they're so open because Rodri has not filled in and Kanji can't come across. And Watkins, once he gets into that position, that's a man who's been scoring goals. And it's a brilliant finish, 3 in his last 3. Good finish from Ollie Watkins.
Well. Maybe. It's not all over yet. 16 minutes gone in this second half. Villa on the score sheet, keeping up that run of scoring in each of Unai Emery's Premier League games. So we saw all the drama here, didn't we, on the final day of last season when Villa went 2-0 up. The title looked to be slipping away for Manchester City, but they fought back 1-3-2. And I'll tell you what, you can tell Pep Guardiola's annoyed because he's vanished. He's gone to sit down. And he's one of these, I'm sure he's a manager in the dressing room where the quieter he gets, the more angry you know he is. I wouldn't put that past him at all.
Yeah, they just got
that he's gone
Vicky,
down.
you know what it is? They've got sloppy the last 2 or 3 minutes. I feel that can happen when you're comfortable in the game. You get sloppy, and that was sloppy play from Bernardo Silva.
And it's cost them. Watkins on the score sheet. Villa, perhaps, back in this. Manchester City, though, in possession with Bernardo Silva. Here is Rodri. Out to the left-hand side, and Silva once more. Guardiola didn't sit down for long. He's back. He's motionless on the edge of his technical area, hands in his pockets, watching Kyle Walker, who picks it up, slides it through, just not trapped by Julian Alvarez, and Aston Villa will bring the ball away with Ezri Konsa, the centre half, over the halfway line. It's then dispossessed and now out of position. Chasing down the ball again, though. Brilliant sliding challenge. Well, I thought that was good. Rob Jones says no, it's a yellow card as well. It's a free kick, but he didn't want to give that up, did he, Konsa?
No, he didn't, to be fair. It's a good battle because he lost the ball and Konsa won it and decided he's going to go on a run. Alvarez said, I'm not having any of that. Won it back, and then Konsa, fouls him as he's coming across the pitch. It was a good battle.
So free kick to Manchester City. Midway inside their own half, leading by 3 goals to 1 here on BBC 5 Live and the World Service. Well, he's made the changes at half-time, Pep Guardiola. Is it a case that complacency that you were talking about, Clinton, who will have confidence, have faith that they can shake themselves out of it? But again, they've given the ball away in a dangerous position, dallying Manchester City. Here is Watkins inside the area, slips, goes down, still manages to keep it alive. Interception made by Bernardo Silva as the ball was played back in. And Manchester City should be able to clear with Akanji, who does clear up towards halfway, but they need to switch on here because easily Villa could have been in again.
Yeah, they could have. Ollie Watkins just slips at that vital time, but they're overplaying and it becomes too easy. And when it becomes too easy, you switch off, and that's what Man City are doing at the moment. And this is giving Villa confidence.
It's exactly that, Clinton. It's come on City is the cry from the Etihad, but Ashley Young's lost out to Grealish, and Grealish will feed De Bruyne left-hand side into the penalty area, looks to pick out Alvarez. Good positioning at the back by Callum Chambers, who clears away for Aston Villa. Young is then barged over by Bernardo Silva. The whistle's gone. Not sure Bernardo Silva heard that initially, but it's a free kick to Aston Villa. But it's exactly that, the confidence, the last thing you want to do, and Guardiola's coming out again and waving his arms around. The last thing you want to do, having gifted Villa away back into this, is to just give them that hope and that belief.
Yeah, and they've got belief now. Their fans are getting behind them. They were quiet in that first half, and now they're getting behind them because they think they can score another one in the next 10 minutes or so, Vicky. They're right back in this game.
Manchester City with the throw, just inside their own half. As Guardiola comes out,
and the boy wonders coming on, Vicky.
And yeah, the applause around us is for Phil Foden. He's getting to his feet. He's missed the last 3 games with a combination of injury and illness, but back on the bench today.
Always like to see him on the pitch, Vicky. He's one of my favourite players in. Such a talent.
All over at Ibrox, ready for Scythe.
Yes, Rangers have won. They're in the quarter-finals. Surreal 90 minutes. They dominated the first half, couldn't get an effort on target, went in a goal down after Čolak was judged to have handled the ball inside his own box. Holt converted the penalty kick. Rangers were level 5 minutes after the break when Čolak was unmarked to head home across from Raskin. They took the lead in bizarre circumstances after the ball had been put out to allow treatment for Tillman. When he was treated, Thistle were about to return the ball. He got hold of it, rounded Jamie Snedden and shot into the empty net to ignite a full-scale brawl. That only came to an end when Michael Beale told his players to allow Thistle to equalise. So Scott Tiffany ran unopposed to do that. Alan McGregor tried to block him. Then with 4 minutes left, James Sands headed home from a corner kick, although it could have counted as an own goal from Conor McAvoy. Oh, and between times, James Tavernier had a penalty kick saved by Snedden. 3-2 for Rangers. Match that.
All the drama at Ibrox. Almost had a 4th goal here for Manchester City. Brilliant work down the left-hand side for Grealish, and Alvarez coming in, denied at the far post. It's a Manchester City corner. It could have been 4-1, Clinton Morrison.
Yeah, he thinks he scores. The movement's fantastic. The ball in from Jack Grealish, the way he stands it up is fantastic. And Alvarez thinks he scored, but it's brilliant defending from Konza. He throws his body on the line, and that's what you want.
He got a big hug from Emi Martinez as well, Ezri Konsa. But they have a corner to defend Aston Villa, and they've not done that so well so far this afternoon. It's played short this time by Manchester City. De Bruyne to Mahrez, and now Bernardo Silva. Back to De Bruyne, who will swing the ball in. It's cleared away by Ollie Watkins for Aston Villa, and Jack Grealish will send it all the way back to the halfway line. And Kyle Walker, you just wonder why they didn't just put that in there.
Yeah, I know, they went short, but yeah, I'm surprised because in the first half, you're right, Vicky, they were causing a lot of problems, in particular Diaz and Laporte every time. I know Diaz has gone off, but they were causing problems.
Yep, no Haaland to aim for as well, to be fair, but in the end the aerial delivery did come from De Bruyne. It was just poor. Foden is waiting on the touchline, ready to make his entrance. Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 1, but Villa almost fashioning a clear second opportunity when Ollie Watkins, who was gifted the ball for Villa's goal back in this second half, was allowed to steal in behind once again after another mix-up at the back by City. Couldn't take advantage on that occasion. But it's just a warning that this is not quite over yet for Pep Guardiola's side. But they revert to what they do best, keeping possession, wearing the opposition down as Kyle Walker brings it forward midway through the Aston Villa half. Square to Rodri. Laporte is ambling down this left-hand side, but Rodri opts to go back to Bernardo Silva, who will now find Laporte down the left channel. Ramsey is there. Laporte checks back to get past him and pulls it to Rodri once more. Central position. Now Gundogan urged to shoot. Does shoot. Comfortable. Martinez saves low.
Yeah, it's good build-up play. They didn't force the passes there. Laporte does well on that left-hand side, and it was a weak shot from Gundogan, a comfortable save from Martinez.
Victory for England in the Six Nations earlier, 31-14 winners over Italy. You can listen to all the reaction to that on the Rugby Union Daily podcast. Download that from BBC Sounds, and while you're there, check out the Football Daily as well and have a listen to reaction from this game, reaction to Manchester United's victory at Leeds, late goals from Rashford and Garnacho. And here comes the applause for Phil Foden replacing Jack Grealish, who's, as you expect, getting short shrift from the Villa fans, but he won the penalty on the stroke of half-time, dispatched by Riyad Mahrez, which gave Manchester City that very comfortable 3-0 lead. Less comfortable now at 3-1, but they're still very much in control as Grealish makes way for Foden.
Yeah, he's had a good game, another good game from Jack Grealish, and I've liked what I've seen of him over the last couple of months, but so happy to see this boy back on the pitch, Phil Foden.
So Foden on, and Aston Villa in possession just outside their own penalty area. Ball played back to Emi Martinez, who will just look for options as Villa reset themselves. Is there any change to the approach from Unai Emery? Would you make any change having got the goal back?
Yeah, I probably would have tried to go for it, but he's obviously, I would have probably brought on Philippe Coutinho and seen if he can go and work his magic and stuff, but because Man City are back in cruise control again after that mistake.
Young striker John Duran is closing down Edison. McGinn trying to get a foot in. It's cleared away by Walker, and off goes to Brunner down the right-hand side. Manages to slide it in field to Riyad Mahrez, and City are streaming forward now. Here is Foden, pulls the ball across. It's blocked on the edge of the area and will be collected by Douglas Luiz, who plays the ball out to this left-hand side. Is that a foul there by Bernardo Silva? Referee says yes, as Ashley Young went down. And Aston Villa will have the set piece. Well, Foden almost involved immediately in a good goal scoring chance for Manchester City.
Yeah, it's good play again from Kevin De Bruyne on that right hand side, and they then get the ball out to Phil Foden. He's just trying to flash it across the box for Alvarez. Good defending again from Ashley Young.
So Martinez in possession. Manchester City happy for now just to sit back into formation and just try and squeeze the life out of this game. But Aston Villa are enjoying a little bit more possession. Can they fashion another clear chance after Ollie Watkins made it 3-1 in this
Definitely listen
half.
to us, Vicky, because I think Coutinho's coming on.
Ah, there we go. Well, you were on the same wavelength with Guardiola earlier, and now Unai Emery, it looks, is on your wavelength, Clinton Morrison.
And I think Matty Cash as well.
But you said that before the match.
Yeah, I just think Matty Cash is a good defender. I know he's been out a bit of time, but I think he's a good defender, a good fullback.
Manchester City pick up possession. Here is Gundogan, plays it forward to Foden down this left-hand side up against Ashley Young, and will play it back to Gundogan once more. City leading Villa by 3-1 here on 5 Live in the World Service. 26 minutes gone in this second half. Scoreline, if it stays the same, if Manchester United see out the victory, will move them to within 3 points of Arsenal before their trip to the leaders on Wednesday. Commentary on 5 Live on Wednesday night. Here is Bernardo Silva, pulls it back to Ilkay Gundogan, and Kyle Walker joins the attack midway through the Aston Villa half, slides the ball down the right hand side. Good delivery, looking for the run of Mahrez, will pull it back once more. Gundogan curls the ball in, and it's straight into the arms of Emi Martinez.
Yeah, it's comfortable, easy. It's an easy save, to be fair, really comfortable. Gundogan doesn't get that whip up and over, but it's good build-up play again from Man City, and I think Villa need to make these changes because the game's just gone a bit flat for them, Vicky.
Well, that's the thing. How often the ball goes out of play at the Etihad comes into play, doesn't it? As Callum Chambers clears long downfield, and the offside flag goes up against 19-year-old John Duran, and so the chance for Aston Villa to make this double change. Matty Cash, the first player to come on, and Philippe Coutinho as well, and it signs that he is looking to go for it, Unai Emery.
Yeah, he is. They're both attacking options because he's an attacking fullback, Matty Cash is, and Coutinho hasn't worked out for him at Aston Villa. Still had a fantastic career, but these are the games where you need your big players to turn up, so he has to turn up for Villa.
Well, not quite ready to make the change there, Villa, so City have taken the free kick and we play on, leading by 3-1. Here is Bernardo Silva out to the left-hand side, and Phil Foden. Ramsey's come across to close down the angle, so Foden goes back to Laporte, and now Rodri once more. His early header got things underway. Perfect start for Manchester City. Perfect response. what their manager called for, not just after the events of this week, but earlier this year as well. And he was so furious with the way that they played, even though they came back from 2-0 down to beat Tottenham by 4 goals to 2. Highlighted the need to play football from the stomach, with the guts, not just with skill, not just about ability, but that desire to win from the first minute. And Clinton, you have to say that they have very much shown that desire from the first minute. Clinton's thoughts in a moment as Riyad Mahrez is coming down the right-hand side. Alvarez is waiting in the centre. Mahrez will pull it back to Kyle Walker, 25 yards out, digs the ball in, looking for the run of Gundogan, headed away by Aston Villa, almost comes to Rodri. He does get a foot in and sends it out to the left-hand side, and Foden, and all the way back to Bernardo Silva. And I can bring you in on that, Clinton, that this desire from Manchester City, they have been at it this afternoon.
They have, and I keep saying they're never, Vicky, were going to make 2 mistakes. After the one against Tottenham, they were never going to make a mistake here at home in front of their home fans, especially when Arsenal have dropped points. So yeah, as I've always said it, title race on Man City. They're a type of team that could go 10 unbeaten if they can get it right and all their big players are playing. They can do that. But yeah, they've laid down a marker today so far.
And they're in possession on the halfway line, leading by 3 goals to 1, 15 minutes to play plus added time. Villa's still waiting to get Coutinho and Cash on, as Bernardo Silva has it right in front of Pep Guardiola. City heading for 22 wins out of 24 in terms of their last home games in all competitions, and only Brentford and Everton have avoided defeat here in that run. And when they get ahead at the Etihad, they are so, I mean, they're just hard to stop here, full stop, but particularly when they get ahead, as they are. And they're looking to get further ahead as Bernardo Silva plays the ball into the area, too much on it for Riyad Mahrez. It's behind for an Aston Villa goal kick, and finally they can make that double change. So Jacob Ramsey is coming off, Matty Cash is being substituted on for him, and Philippe Coutinho will take the place of Ashley Young. So I mean, reverse them in terms of position, but that's the order in which they've been made.
Yeah, you're right. I think you just go for it now. I think they'll go the 3 in the midfield. Or Coutinho goes out to that left-hand side. John McGinn comes onto that right-hand side. You just get him in little pockets, and Ollie Watkins and Duran tried to cause problem to the centre halves.
Well, that's it, Clinton, with 14 minutes plus added time to play. If Aston Villa can get another goal, suddenly we have a very interesting last period of this match on our hands, as Kamara under pressure sends it back to Konsa, who fizzes that back to Martinez. He won't prevent the corner. Raised hand of apology from Ezri Konsa, and Aston Villa's turn to invite a bit of pressure on needlessly.
Yeah, he fired that back at Martinez, and it wasn't even a straight pass. He had to slide for it, but yeah, it's probably one of the few mistakes he's made all afternoon.
Yeah, he's had a good game, Concert.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, in terms of individual performances for Villa, there have been some decent ones, but just as a team, they've just struggled, as so many do, to get to grips with Manchester City's dominance of possession and the creation of the chances. And the early goal as well, the early header from Rodri inside the opening 5 minutes was key to setting the tone of this game. So corner for Manchester City from the left-hand side. Mahrez swings it in low, poor delivery, headed away on the corner of the 6-yard box by Coutinho, and it will be played forward now by Kyle Walker out to the right-hand side. Manchester City once again happy to slow play down. A reminder, you can watch all the highlights from today's game on Match of the Day 2, 10:30 tonight on BBC One, and do join us on 5 Live for the Super Bowl. Kansas City Chiefs against the Philadelphia Eagles. 11 p.m. our coverage starts on 5 Live as the ball is fizzed back once more to Emi Martinez. Scoop that out to the left-hand side. A little bit of pressure there for Alex Moreno, the new arrival last month. Manchester City win the ball back right-hand side. Poor ball into the centre though, looking for Alvarez. Callum Chambers though almost gets himself in a muddle, and Emi Martinez comes and takes charge before Foden can latch onto it. Laporte steps up on the halfway line and shows some nice footwork. Gundogan though, not so much, but he say to Alvarez, look, I knew where your run was and you made a different one. As they played over the halfway line, Aston Villa. Duran looking for the ball into the area for Ollie Watkins. Header is one and back by Rodri to Edison.
Yeah, he looks lively, Duran. He obviously looks raw, but he looks really lively. And there we go. Pep's moaning at Akanji because he says he didn't want him to turn and get the ball into the box.
So Manchester City in possession leading by 3 goals to 1. And you just wonder, Clinton, whether that chance that Villa had shortly after Ollie Watkins made it 3-1, called the goal back in the second half, whether that was the key moment in this game. Had Villa been able to make it 3-2, but they're coming forward again once more. Nice touch by John Duran, who'll go for goal from distance, falls over 40 yards out, and it's all the way through to Ederson. And as Clinton says alongside me, no, I think is the right response to that.
Yeah, I don't know, he's done well to turn. You can not beat an Ederson from 40 yards, no way. I know he's a young kid and he's new to the Premier League, but he's just got to move the ball. I like the confidence, but it was never going to be testing Ederson from there.
Decent record he had for Chicago Fire before joining Villa. 8 goals, 6 assists in 28 appearances. But as you say, Ederson was even barely off his line. But they're still coming forward, Aston Villa, having won the ball back. Here's Duran, doesn't shoot this time, plays it out to the right-hand side, and John McGinn. Villa trying to build up a bit of a head of steam. Chested down on the edge of the area by Douglas Luiz. Does well to hold on to it under pressure from Gundogan initially, but Gundogan shows tenacity, wins the ball back for Manchester City, and they spread it out to the right-hand side. And here goes De Bruyne and Foden's through the centre, and a vital touch there off the boot of Callum Chambers allows Emi Martinez to come, stop it on the byline, and then clear up towards halfway. Almost in there down the right, Manchester City, and that's how quickly they can counter. But forward Villa go once more. Game just opening up in the last minute or so. 11 minutes plus added time to play here on 5 Live in the World Service. Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 1. Here is 19-year-old John Duran, who plays it back to Ezra Konsa, and every single Manchester City player is inside their own half. In shape, organised, but just soaking up a little bit of Aston Villa pressure as Coutinho squares it to Douglas Luiz, back to Kamara, and Coutinho once more, and now Callum Chambers. But it's trying to pick the lock, isn't it, Clinton, for Aston Villa?
Yeah, they have a good shape. Oh, they've got...
They're almost doing it now. Coutinho forward to Ollie Watkins on the edge of the area, cleared away, but only back to Coutinho, who swings the ball in. Oh, I tell you what, that wasn't far away. Ederson got a touch on it as well. What a save that is. Well, we raised our eyebrows at John Duran going for goal from 40 yards. Coutinho on the angle, corner of the penalty area from the left-hand side. Ederson gets a fingertip touch to it, and we know that Coutinho can score goals like that. That would have been a wonder goal.
Yeah.
Aston Villa played the corner short. Cash swings it high into the box. Villa fans and players are appealing for a penalty. Rob Jones waves his hand and says get up. Villa pick it up on the left hand side. Here is Alex Moreno back to Matty Cash, and all of a sudden Villa are just building a little bit of momentum, and suddenly Unai Emery down on the touchline is animated as John McGinn sends it back out to the left-hand side, looking for Moreno, wins the header. Here is Coutinho. Will he go for goal again? Can't find the space. Slides it down the left-hand side to Moreno, pulls the ball across. Good save by Ederson, and scrambled away at the back by Rodri. Aston Villa had players in that 6-yard box, would have had a tap in there were it not for an important interception by Ederson. Suddenly Villa have come to life.
Yeah, because Coutinho has been a little magician. He's come on and made stuff happen. He's a brilliant footballer. I've always, you don't lose your ability. I know he's had a bit of a bad time, but he's come on. Look at this run here. It's fantastic.
Coming forward again down the left-hand side. Coutinho on the byline, can't get the ball across. It's a goal kick to Manchester City. But you're right, Clinton. He's made a real difference.
Big difference. He's got ability, Coutinho. Just give him game time and let him play and give him the confidence, because you can lose your confidence if you're a top player. But he's come on and he's changed the game for Aston Villa. He's put them on the front foot.
Well, that's it. You mentioned the form. He's been in just 1 goal in his last 31 games for Aston Villa. Hasn't scored this season. That was against Manchester City here, incidentally, on the final day of last season. But the difference that he's making around the pitch is something that's been pretty impressive.
It has. And I'm looking on our monitor, and I think we have a special guest in the stadium, Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell is in the stadium. That was him with his woolly hat, I'm sure.
Good spot.
I'm sure it was.
Tell you what, producer Andy told me that he saw him earlier. They're all turning up. All these Hollywood stars. They want a bit of the action. Ryan Reynolds at Wrexham. Nathan Ake is preparing to come on for Manchester City. He's still lead by 3 goals to 1, but it's been less comfortable for them over the past few minutes or so. Can Aston Villa find the goal that would really make this interesting, and they've given it away again. City ball is through, looking for Duran, well anticipated by Edison, but who was that again with the vision to try and play the pass? It was Philippe Coutinho.
Yeah, and he's disappointed because he's quality. He should have picked the pass out, and it's another poor ball out the back from Akanji, who hasn't played well in the second half, been really sloppy. But yeah, good pick out, but good defending from Edison. Good goalkeeping, from Edison.
Well, he's had little to do overall in this match, but a couple of key saves and interceptions in the past few minutes, and that was another good piece of goalkeeping as De Bruyne plays the ball over the top. Alvarez is in here, flag stays down. Alvarez to wrap this up for Manchester City, well marshalled, pulls it across. What a miss from Mahrez. Took it in his stride, edge of the 6-yard box, scoops it high over the bar, and the Etihad can't believe it.
No, I can't believe it, and that's his last bit of action for the day, because he's coming off, I think, after that. But it's not, it's Bernardo Silva, but it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant play. No, it is Mahrez who's coming off. I knew it was 26, just Bernardo Silva coming to talk to Pep. But it's brilliant play, and then the brilliant ball from De Bruyne, brilliant run from Alvarez. He does ever so well, Mahrez, and he tries to hit it too hard, and it gets out over it, and it goes over the bar. It's a great opportunity.
Well, he just had a little word with him there, Rob Jones, the referee, as Mahrez went off. I mean, I'm sure he was telling him, whether to go off on this side of the pitch or whatever. But it almost looked like he was patting him on the back and saying, bad luck, Riyad.
You know what I think he was saying, Vicky? I would have scored that, Riyad. Off you go. That's why it's your last kick of the game.
Well, he gets a low five from Pep Guardiola, and there's a rueful smile. He's walking towards us now. He's furious. He's furious with himself, Riyad Mahrez. But now he is smiling because Manchester City still lead by 3-1. But that was the chance to put this game beyond Aston Villa once and for all.
Yeah, you're spot on. It was, Vicky. That was the big chance. I still feel Man City will go on and win the game, but that would have definitely sealed the 3 points.
5 minutes to play, and they still are dominating possession, Manchester City. But in the last 5 or 10 minutes or so, it's Villa, barring that Mahrez miss, who have looked more dangerous. Manchester United 2-0 winners at Leeds in the Premier League's early kick-off. England beating Italy by 31 points to 14 in the Six Nations. Reaction to both of those, and of course the game here at the Etihad on the Football Daily podcast and the Rugby Union Daily. Have a search on BBC Sounds and download to listen at your leisure. Manchester City win a free kick midway inside their own half. Join us for commentary of the Super Bowl as well, 11 o'clock on 5 Live. Vernon Kay and Greg Brady leading our coverage of that. We've got a bumper week of commentaries coming up for you as well. European and Premier League action kicks off on Tuesday. AC Milan against Tottenham in the Champions League. Then Manchester City away to Arsenal. Borussia Dortmund against Chelsea is on Sports Extra that day on Wednesday. And then Barcelona against Manchester United in the Europa League on Thursday. Ball goes out of play for a throw to Aston Villa, deep in their own territory. And join us tomorrow morning if cricket's your thing on 5 Sports Extra as well. England against Ireland in the Women's T20 World Cup. That starts at 10:45 a.m. Aston Villa have lost possession over on that far side, so De Bruyne will dink it forward as Manchester City look to see this one out and perhaps see it out by adding a 4th goal. Julian Alvarez just inside the penalty area, just overran it there, and Conte gets a foot in for Aston Villa, and John McGinn will bring it away. Boubacar Kamara now with the options ahead of him. Nice little layoff by John Duran, but Douglas Luiz can't take it in his stride. Does get the foot in, Douglas Luiz, and wins it back, raises his arms as well, and in the end deemed to have been fouled there, Douglas Luiz. It was one of those where he knew it was on a yellow card, didn't he? So he raised both hands up saying, it was me, I did win the ball, and fortunately for him, Rob Jones agrees, and Villa get us underway again. City 3, Villa 1, into the final 3 minutes plus added time. Clinton Morrison.
Yeah, you're right. Duran's a young boy. He throws his arms out when he gives the ball away. You can't be doing that when you've just come into the Premier League and to a new club. I've seen it a few times, and he'll learn from that, because I don't like that, because you've been playing a long time, then I understand that, but not when you're doing flicks and you're giving a ball away.
There's Riconta in possession for Aston Villa as Blue Moon rings around the Etihad once again. What message then, Clinton, after the week they've had, but on field as well, what message does this send out from City as Kamara wins a free kick for Villa?
It just sends out a message that we're not going to make a big mistake like we did last weekend, and this is a message that we are definitely in the title race. we are putting huge pressure on Arsenal. If you slip up again, Arsenal, on Wednesday night, we'll go top of the Premier League, and it is on anyway. Regardless what anyone says, it's always be on, because you can't write off Man City. But yeah, they laid down a marker today, and everyone probably expected it because you needed a response, and they've got world-class players.
They are moving to within 3 points of leaders Arsenal. Join us for commentary from the Emirates on Wednesday on 5 Live. Huge match in the course of the season. Lovely turn by Rodri inside the centre circle. Feeds Walker, who does a almost 360 of his own, turned into a 180, and then stabs it forward to De Bruyne, and they have the options down the left-hand side. De Bruyne goes central looking for Foden, and Matty Cash under pressure clears away, and Emi Martinez is rather glaring at him because it's a corner to Manchester City, but he just didn't want to take the chance that Foden was closer than he thought, did he, Clinton?
No, he didn't, to be fair, and you can understand if you take a touch and Foden comes in and nicks it off you and you puts it in the back of the net, everyone's moaning, why didn't you clear it? So I think he did the right thing there, Matty Cash.
So corner to Manchester City, and De Bruyne receiving a warm reception from those fans down there in the corner away to our left. We've criticised his deliveries on occasion, but overall he's had a very good game.
Yeah, he has. He's been outstanding.
So what can he do from this set-piece delivery into the final minute of normal time on 5 Live in the World Service? City 3, Villa 1. Kevin De Bruyne swings it in. That's a decent delivery, flicked away by the head of John Duran back there defending for Villa, and spins out of play for a City throw deep in Villa territory. And despite that brief flurry in the second half, that little spell of pressure from Aston Villa, a couple of chances, a couple of good saves from Edison, the goal back from Ollie Watkins, Manchester City well on their way to seeing this one out, Clinton.
Yeah, they are. It was a mistake for obviously Bernardo Silva and Man City overplaying, and Akanji maybe not getting across, or Rodri dropping in enough, but it's been comfortable for City all afternoon, all into the evening. They've been outstanding. Professional performance. On to Arsenal now.
And their excellent run against Aston Villa is continuing. 13 home Premier League wins against Villa in a row this will be. And they have a free kick, Manchester City, over on this far side, the right. Kevin De Bruyne. As we enter 4 minutes of added time. Well done, your eyes were sharper on that board than mine, Clinton.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I heard the guy say it. That's
well
why.
done. Your ears were sharp.
All right.
Take the compliment.
All right.
And we move on. Manchester City in possession, right hand side as they play the free kick back. Ilkay Gundogan will pick it up as Pep Guardiola stands, arms outstretched, still ever the perfectionist. As they work it down the right hand side once more. Good fit in by Coutinho for Villa. Manchester City with the throw. As Rodri is awarded man of the match inside the stadium. Well, we wondered whether he might be slotting into that defensive centre-half position, but he's played the vast majority of the game in midfield and has done so very well. And as Manchester City win another throw deep in Villa territory, we did think that City would start the match well, although it was Villa who had the early chance inside the opening 60 seconds. But getting the goal was so key inside that opening 5 minutes from Rodri.
You're right, and yeah, he's been outstanding in there. And he hasn't really played at the back. He's probably played in that midfield role, but that's where he likes to play. And it's because City have dominated possession. So he hasn't really had a lot of defending apart from the Watkins goal, where they got punished for giving the ball away. But I can't see Man City playing this way against Arsenal with only 3 centre-backs, because it will caused a lot of problems with Arsenal's front four. But it's worked today, and credit Pep Guardiola.
So free kick for Aston Villa, taken along by Emi Martinez, flicked on by Watkins. Oh, what an effort from John Duran! On the turn, on the volley, crashes off the top of the bar. Aston Villa pick it up on the right-hand side. Ball is pulled back to Duran, the 19-year-old, outside the penalty area. Matty Cash has it. Douglas Luiz now picks it up, out to the right-hand side once more. And John McGinn. Momentum just draining out of this attack for Villa, but they're desperately trying to keep it on as Cash finds McGinn once more, and Douglas Luiz into the area. Edison comes, just gets there, goes down, stays down. He'll take his time. What a hit from John Duran. How unlucky not to get his first Villa goal, the 19-year-old. That was an absolutely superb strike, and had it been just under the crossbar instead of onto the woodwork, Edison would have had absolutely no chance whatsoever.
Yeah, he looks a handful, Duran. I said earlier about him giving the ball away and throwing his hands in the air, but he does look a handful. He has been a threat. Good combination play. It's a long ball. Watkins does well. He wins the flick on. Sorry, and Duran gets in. And the touch and the strike, Vicky, is outstanding, to be fair. Edison was beaten, and he looks like a prospect. I'll give him that. He looks like a really good prospect. At 19 years of age, Villa look like they've got a player there.
Well, maybe he was justified in going for goal from 45 yards.
100%. Who am I to criticise him when he can strike a ball like that? See, that's when you should never criticise someone when you've not seen him play. First time I've seen him play, he's got a hell of a left foot.
Super effort. So unlucky. And he has impressed since he's come on, as Clinton says, as Phil Foden just leaps over the back of Matty Cash and concedes the free kick for Aston Villa. 30 seconds of the minimum, 4 added minutes to play. It will be 3 points for Manchester City. They are moving to within 3 points of Arsenal, but there's just been a couple of moments for Villa where you think, oh, if that had gone the other way, as they concede the free kick just outside the Manchester City penalty area. And that really would have been an introduction to English football for John Duran on his second appearance. Colombia international. Looks as though he will add that potency, and as we mentioned, they have improved under Unai Emery in terms of goal scoring, but of course with Danny Ings joining West Ham in January, just gives that extra body to play up alongside Ollie Watkins. And that's the positive for Villa, the performance of Duran after coming on, the fact that Watkins has scored for the 3rd game running. But other than that, they leave the Etihad empty-handed. The response that Pep Guardiola would have wanted on the pitch after a challenging week off the pitch for Manchester City. They move to within 3 points of leaders Arsenal. They've beaten Aston Villa by 3-1. Clinton Morrison.
Yeah, a very professional performance from Man City. I thought they were outstanding from the first 2 minutes, because I won't talk about the first minute, because I think Villa should have gone 1-0 up with the Bailey chance. But after that, professional performance, outstanding to a man, and a big result. They needed a response from last week, and they got a big response. They were outstanding. And in second half, Vicky, truth be told, they were in second gear.
The response was given that Pep Guardiola called for. They have the victory. Back on track for Manchester City. They beat Aston Villa by 3-1.
Response in the first half, Clinton. I'm not sure how happy you'll be about the second. Villa, to be fair to them, were much better.
Yeah, they were, but City gave them that goal crossing. But you are right, they were better in second half. But he made changes. He took off Haaland, took off Diaz, and they just saw it out in the second half. I think they had the eye on Wednesday for sure. They weren't at full throttle in that second half. But you got to credit Villa. Villa were always going to come out in the second half and go and have a goal, and that's what they did in the second half.
That game on Wednesday is set up beautifully, isn't it? Arsenal top of the table on 51 points, Manchester City second on 48, having played a game more. You can't ask for more. Is it live on 5 Live? Of course it is, Clinton.
Of course it is. Of course it's going to be live on 5 Live. You don't even have to ask me that. It's obvious it's going to be on there, and it's going to be a huge game. And yeah, it's a fantastic game. One game I'm looking forward to watching. It's going to be outstanding, and listening to, obviously, because I'm going to be listening and watching it at the same time. But yeah, it's going to be an outstanding game, and you know, big pressure now. If Man City go there and win it, they go top of the table, and it will be all pressure on Arsenal. So yeah, fascinating game.
You know, Vicky, you could have done the old match of the day, too good, too bad, just in the space of that second half. One Riyad Mahrez shot and one from John Duran.
Oh my gosh! And let's also throw in the shot from 45 yards from John Duran that was pretty woeful as well. But oh gosh, how Mahrez missed that from 6 yards, scooping it over the bar. He was absolutely furious when he came off. But the technique, Clinton, I've got to bring you back in again on this. As a former striker, the technique from that Duran effort inside the penalty area, the way that he turns, the way that he catches it was simply outstanding from a man who's making only his second appearance for Aston Villa, and he's just 19 years of age.
Yeah, it was brilliant technique. Me and technique don't go together a little bit, but I couldn't strike a ball like that. I was a 6-yard box, but it's great technique. The way he controls it, and has the confidence to have a strike and beat a top-class goalie in Edison, really unlucky. And as I said, 19 years of age, he looks like Villa have got a good striker on their hands there.
He wasn't even on the team sheet originally, Clinton. He was an add-on to the team sheet.
Can you believe
just
that?
After it came out?
It's ridiculous, Crossy, but he caused problems. He's a big he's big up front. He gets the ball up to his feet. He can hold it up, and it's a good combination with him and Ollie Watkins. They've lost Danny Ings, but they brought in a young player. I'm not saying he's going to come to the Premiership straight away, hit the ground running, but in a little cameo I saw for 19 years of age, he looks like a bright prospect.
And we should say, Steve, that was a clear team sheet error rather than Unai Emery thinking, oh, go on then, you've come all this way, you might as well sit on the bench.
Coutinho as well, Vicky. I mean, it's a long time since we've seen the best of him, but he was fantastic when he came on.
Yeah, he was. He made a real difference. And again, props to Clinton, because he said, that's exactly who I would bring on. And he was very impressive. I mean, we mentioned in commentary the goal struggles that he's had. Just one goal in his last 32 games for Aston Villa now, but it isn't always all about goals with Coutinho. It's the way that he links the play, the way that he influences the game, and I think particularly the vision of his passing when he came on. He didn't always execute it correctly, but more often than not he did, and they just suddenly started finding these pockets of space. He started picking up the runs of Ollie Watkins and John Duran, who was starting to pull that Manchester City back line around a little bit more, and he certainly was the most influential player for Villa, you'd have to say, really across the whole match. And given that he came on in the second half, that shows you what an impact he had, and also how Villa really just didn't offer very much at all in that first half.
Manchester City being a bit mischievous here, I think. Can you hear the song in the background?
What is it, Crossy?
Panic on the streets of London, which was the same as the banner before the game. Lord Panic, of course, is the man representing them. They've had these 100+ charges from the Premier League. Very, very interesting, and I suspect quite deliberate. But listen, Manchester City fans are thinking about the title as much as anything else. So Arsenal top 51, City second on 48, Manchester United third on 46. 3-horse title race, Clinton. Should Newcastle be considered in it still?
Maybe not. It's come a bit too soon for Newcastle, I think, because on the back of a few disappointing results, I think Newcastle, their aim's top 4 and try and win that Carabao Cup. But you can't rule them out, because you never know. They could go on a good run. But I think Man United definitely title contenders. Big result today, because Leeds done well by all accounts and were unlucky, but that's the sign of a good team. You don't play particularly well, but you still go and win. I think Man United be disappointed they drop points against Leeds at home in the midweek, but they're definitely title contenders. A 3-horse race. We love it, Crossy. We don't want it to be over, do we, in February? So it's brilliant to watch.
And some great star power at the Etihad this afternoon with Will Ferrell in the stands. Vicky, Clinton.
Wait, hold on, Crossy. Will Ferrell, Clinton and Vicky. That's the star power.
Sorry.
Thanks for coming.
Sorry.
Everyone.
Stay classy, Clinton.
Yes, mate, I will do, always.
Clinton Morrison and Vicky Sparks, your commentary team inside the Etihad as Manchester City beat Aston Villa by 3-1. Loads to get at that on 606.